ability and play a consequential role for the peace and prosperity of mankind. I believe that today's open debate will be an opportunity for the Republic of Korea to display
제 15차 안보리 회의를 시작하겠습니다. 이 회의의 잠정 의제는 국제평화와 안보 유지, AI와 국제평화 안보입니다. 네, 의제가 채택되었습니다. 안보리 회의장에 함께하신 유엔 사무총장님, 그리고 각국 대통령님, 총리님, 그리고 고위급 대표들을 환영합니다. 여러분께서 오늘 이 자리에 함께해 주신 것은 우리가 논의하는 이 주제의 중요성을 잘 보여준다고 하겠습니다. 여러분 앞에 안보리 잠정 의사규칙 제37항, 39항, 그리고 안보리의 기존 관행에 따라 참석을 요청한 발언자 명단이 놓여 있습니다. 회의에 참석토록 초청할 것을 제안드립니다. 특별한 반대가 없으시므로 결정되었습니다. 안보리는 이제 두 번째 의제를 심의하겠습니다. 안보리 문서 S2025-593 관련 안보리 이사국들의 주의를 환기코자 합니다. 해당 문서는 2025년 9월 18일 주 유엔 대한민국 대사가 유엔 사무총장에게 보낸 서한으로 현재 심의 중인 의제에 관한 컨셉 페이퍼를 포함하고 있습니다. 이제 안토니우 구테레시 유엔 사무총장님의 브리핑을 듣겠습니다.
Mr. President, Excellencies, I thank the Republic of Korea for convening this high-level open debate at a decisive moment for global cooperation on artificial intelligence. AI is no longer a distant horizon. It is here, transforming daily life, the information space, and the global economy at breathtaking speed. The question is not whether AI will influence international peace and security, but how we will shape that influence. Used responsibly, AI can strengthen prevention and protection, anticipating food insecurity and displacement, supporting demining, helping identify potential outbreaks of violence, and so much more. But without guardrails, it can also be weaponized. Recent conflicts have become testing grounds for AI-powered targeting and autonomy. AI-enabled cyberattacks can disrupt or destroy critical infrastructure in minutes. The ability to fabricate and manipulate audio and video threatens information integrity, fuels polarization, and can trigger diplomatic crises. And the massive energy and water demands of large-scale models, coupled with competition over critical minerals, are creating new drivers of tension. Excellencies, innovation must serve humanity, not undermine it. Last month, the General Assembly established an independent international scientific panel on artificial intelligence and an annual global dialogue on AI governance. This is a recognition of the unique convening power of the UN. Together, these initiatives aim to connect science, policy and practice, provide every country a seat at the table and reduce fragmentation. They represent practical tools to make AI safer, more inclusive and more accountable. I will soon launch an open call for nominations for the scientific panel. I urge all Member States to nominate eminent, diverse experts and support the panel's expertise, independence and regional balance with the resources needed for timely, science-based assessments. I also call on governments and stakeholders to engage fully in the global dialogue and to shape inclusive, human rights-based global norms. Excellencies, today I wish to focus on 4 priorities. First, we must ensure human control over the use of force. Let us be clear, humanity's fate cannot be left to an algorithm. Humans must always retain authority over life and death decisions. The Council and Member States must ensure that military use of AI remains in full compliance with international law and the Charter, and human control and judgment must be preserved in every use of force. I reiterate my call for a ban on lethal autonomous weapon systems operating without human control, with a view to concluding a legally binding instrument by next year. And until nuclear weapons are eliminated, any decision on their use must rest with humans, not machines. Second, we must build coherent global regulatory frameworks. From design to deployment to decommissioning, AI systems must always comply with international law. Military uses must be clearly regulated through legal reviews, human accountability, and strong safeguards against misuse. We need greater transparency, confidence building, and cooperation to reduce risks, especially in conflict zones. AI must never lower barriers to acquiring or using prohibited weapons or undermine disarmament obligations. I welcome the Responsible Artificial Intelligence and the Military Domain Initiative and commend your leadership in these efforts. Last December, the General Assembly adopted a resolution on AI in the military domain and its implications for international peace and security. Building on that, I presented a report to the General Assembly recommending states to take concrete steps to initiate a dedicated and inclusive process to address this issue. I urge Member States to take this forward. Third, we must protect information integrity in situations of conflict and insecurity. The UN Global Principles for Information Integrity provide a foundation for coordinated action. Governments, platforms, media and civil society must cooperate to detect and deter AI-generated deception, from disinformation campaigns to deepfakes targeting peace processes, humanitarian access and elections. We need transparency in the entire AI life cycle, rapid and verified attribution of information sources and their dissemination, and systematic safeguards to prevent AI systems from spreading disinformation and igniting violence. Excellence. Quatrièmement, enfin, nous devons combler les écarts de capacité en matière d'intelligence artificielle. La technologie peut être un moteur de développement durable, de stabilité et de paix. Nous devons permettre à toutes les nations de contribuer à façonner l'avenir de l'intelligence artificielle. Cela demande d'investir dans le renforcement des capacités, de soutenir le développement des talents, de mettre en place des infrastructures publiques sûres et fiables, de promouvoir la diversité des données pour réduire les biais et de garantir un accès équitable aux outils d'intelligence artificielle, à la puissance de calcul et à la formation. Le mois dernier, j'ai présenté un rapport proposant des options de financement volontaires et innovantes pour soutenir la montée en capacité de IA dans les pays en développement. Je vous exhorte à soutenir ces efforts. Excellences, qu'il s'agisse du contrôle des armements nucléaires ou de la sécurité aérienne, la communauté internationale a su relever le défi des technologies susceptibles de déstabiliser nos sociétés en établissant des règles, en créant des institutions et en plaçant la dignité humaine au premier plan. La fenêtre d'opportunité pour façonner l'IA au service de la paix, de la justice et de l'humanité est en train de se refermer. Nous devons agir sans tarder et je vous remercie.
네, 우리 사무총장님 브리핑 감사합니다. 이제 요수아 벤지오 몬트리올 대학 교수님의 브리핑을 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President of the Republic of Korea, Your Excellency Lee Jae-myung. Thanks for offering me the opportunity to speak with the Security Council today. We start with a bit of looking backwards. In recent years, we've seen the trajectory of AI going towards greater and greater capabilities. And it is being particularly surprising even for experts in the field, including myself. The scientific data is very clear. The ability of AI to solve tasks and to perform like humans and have agency have been advancing rapidly. Many researchers are concerned that as companies are starting to use AI to advance AI research, this could even accelerate. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball, and nobody knows what the future advances are going to be and how fast they will go, but we can look at the past trends, and if these trends continue, some AIs could surpass most humans across most cognitive tasks in as little as 5 years, maybe 10 years. This would be a radical change in the history of mankind. Trillions of dollars are being invested to develop AI further and further, and we're now seeing how quickly this technology is evolving, fundamentally transforming our economies and our societies, including the military. Yet, scientists still do not know how to design AIs that will not harm people, that will always act according to our instructions, that will comply with human rights and human dignity. We don't know how to do that. In a recent study that just came out, OpenAI concluded that AI hallucinations are unavoidable with currently known designs. If we don't learn how to build trustworthy AI, humans are under threat from AI misuse by bad actors or through the misalignment of AI systems with societal norms and laws. Advances in AI will offer ways to tackle some of society's biggest challenges, yet they will also introduce major risks to international peace and security. Frontier AI systems will be extremely powerful if things continue according to the current trends. And misuse or careless use of this power by any individual country, or company could create widespread disruption. I am currently chairing the International AI Safety Report, an international mandate following a resolution made by 30 countries, the EU, the OECD, and the UN. It is the first of its kind international report to set out an up-to-date, science-based understanding of the safety of advanced AI systems. It is being developed by more than 100 AI independent experts, and it's intended to provide a base of scientific evidence to inform policy. It identifies areas of scientific consensus as well as areas where there are different views or gaps in the current scientific understanding. I want to touch briefly today on the 3 risks outlined in the report that are particularly relevant to today's discussion. First, market and power concentration. AI models, which might be soon more capable or as capable as humans, could provide a strategic advantage on a global scale. This power could be used to create new powerful technologies and tip the balance in favor of a few companies, countries, or individuals, potentially enabling a disproportionate economic, political, or military concentration of power. Second, risks from malicious use. AI could also be used by malicious actors by lowering barriers to chemical and biological weapons development, facilitating cyber attacks, this is already happening, or helping design sophisticated persuasion and disinformation campaigns. And we see already AI capabilities in this respect improving fast. Third, the risk of misalignment and, at its extreme, the loss of human control to advanced AI. Again, we don't know currently how to reliably align and control the most advanced AIs, the ones that already exist. When they become more capable, this could have incredible consequences. Right now, this already causes serious issues, as we've seen with recent tragic incidents, for example, involving chatbots that are contributing to endangering individuals experiencing mental health crisis or making it easier to create deepfakes that could be very consequential for individuals as well as societies. If the capabilities of AI models continue to increase and eventually beyond human levels without scientific guarantees that they are safe and aligned with our intentions, I believe we could reach a point where AI could operate irreversibly outside of anyone's control, putting humanity as a whole at risk. We need to plan for these possibilities, even if their probability is small. We must be careful to not cede our collective human and national sovereignty to companies or the models they deploy, so that we can take the right and wise decisions as we move forward. We must act now to mitigate all of these risks together. This is not a problem confined to a single nation's border, but one that threatens all of us. We must mobilize our best minds and make substantial investments to innovate on both fronts of science and governance. On the science and technical side, we need to significantly increase global research endeavors focused on safe and trustworthy AI. I've recently launched my own project called Law Zero, a nonprofit to work on scientist AI, which tries to build AI so that it will be safe by design and provide a guardrail that checks that other AIs will satisfy our safety specifications, will behave according to our instructions. But we need many more such projects. If we want to build effective global agreements on AI use, it is not sufficient to make these kinds of technical progress. We also need technical advances on verification technology, just like we did for nuclear. Because countries may not trust each other, so if we want to have agreements, they need to be verifiable. And work is currently going on both on the software side and the hardware side to allow us to build trust with international partners. On this subject, I'd like to refer you to the UN brief from the Scientific Advisory Board of the Secretary General on this topic. So this was on the technical side. On the governance side, earlier this week, with 200 people, 200 experts, including former heads of state and Nobel laureates and recipients, we came together to support the establishment of international red lines to prevent unacceptable AI risks. Governments must have substantial visibility and control over these technological advances instead of letting very important decisions being taken behind closed doors. Transparency is the most important element that will increase public protection and the global interests. In addition, we need to innovate beyond the existing mechanisms of accountability and multilateral governance surrounding AI to make sure we achieve the three following goals. First, AI is developed safely by everyone on this planet. Second, AI is not abused to gain an unfair advantage over other nations or competitors. And three, we need to make sure that the benefits of AI are shared globally, for example, advances in medicine or the environment. If we develop and manage AI safely, it does offer extraordinary opportunities to improve human life and enhance our collective security, as we'll have the opportunity to discuss today. I'd like to end this with a few concluding thoughts that I have taken from the International AI Safety Report, stating the following. First, the future of general-purpose AI, the most advanced or frontier AI, is uncertain. Many scenarios are possible. Second, both very positive and very negative outcomes are possible, which means we need to prepare for all the plausible scenarios, the positive ones and the negative ones. And much depends on how our societies and governments will act. AI does not happen to us. We, and particularly you, as decision makers, have the power to shape its trajectory so that it benefits the world. Thank you again for this opportunity. I look forward to discussing this important topic with you today. Thank you.
네, 우리 벤지오 교수님 브리핑 잘 들었습니다. 고맙습니다. 이제 최예진 스탠포드 대학의 인간 중심의 인공지능 연구소 교수님의 브리핑을 들어보겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President, and the Secretary General, and distinguished members of the Security Council. It is such a privilege to join you today. As someone who grew up in South Korea and has devoted my career to advancing artificial intelligence, it is deeply meaningful to contribute to this very dialogue under the presidency of the Republic of Korea and at such a pivotal moment of global importance. I have spent more than 2 decades as a computer scientist, seeking to understand how machines might interpret the world in ways more like us humans do. My work asks whether intelligence can be built in forms that are not just powerful, but genuinely reflective of humanity. We stand today at an extraordinary inflection point. AI dazzles us with achievements that only years ago seemed impossible. In particular, I am deeply motivated by how AI is accelerating scientific discovery, from advancing medicine to exploring the natural world, to expand the horizons of human knowledge. But this promise is accompanied by scientific limits and societal choices. Today, I want to talk about one of those choices: choosing intelligence that is not only powerful, but accessible, robust, and efficient. Because when only a few have the resources to build and benefit from AI, we really leave the rest of the world waiting at the door. So my message to you today is simple. Let us expand what intelligence can be, and let everyone, everywhere, have a role in building it. The new need for new scientific frontiers. Scientific history shows us that breakthroughs rarely come from staying in the same lane. At critical moments, new methods and new ways of thinking open entire fields. In AI, however, much of the energy and the investment has converged on one model of progress, which is scaling. In recent years, developers have sought to build AI systems using ever larger data sets and computing power. This approach has delivered impressive results, while also leading to a reality where the most advanced models are built by a mere handful of companies in just a few countries. This concentration in the hands of a few really narrows both our science and who gets to shape it. When most of the world lacks the resources to experiment at the frontier, we lose a diversity of perspectives from researchers, institutions, and societies that could lead to important discoveries and pivots. The task before us, then, is to expand the frontier, to cultivate space for alternative approaches, to encourage curiosity-driven science, and to support bold exploration. Science has historically leapt forward when we have taken risks and opened the door for more voices to contribute to discovery. We can and must pursue alternative approaches to AI development that are more adaptive, more resilient, and broadly accessible to the global community. Striving for global access and representation in AI. Okay, so what might those alternatives paths mean in practice? Expanding the frontier is not only about new scientific methods for achieving intelligence. It is also about how we choose to think about access. Who can build advanced AI systems? To whom are they accessible? Whose voices do they include? And whose values do they reflect? If AI is to truly benefit humanity, global access must be the North Star. That means pushing the frontier along two dimensions. The first dimension is to build AI that is smaller. If we really want to democratize AI, we must rethink how our dependence on massive scale data and computing resources from the outset, and design methods that can do more with less. For example, systems that can learn with far less data, adapt through interaction, and recognize what they do not know. Children gain common sense not by reading endless words on the internet, but by observing the world around them. How can we design AI systems that learn in the same spirit? Models that achieve strong performance while lowering the barriers to entry would open the frontiers to researchers, institutions, and governments worldwide. The second dimension is to ensuring AI systems represent and serve all communities. We should recenter what truly matters to humanity: linguistic diversity, cultural breadth, and pluralistic values. Today's leading AI models underperform for many non-English languages and reflect narrow cultural assumptions. These flaws lead to the systematic exclusion of entire communities from AI's benefits, and they cannot be cured simply by patching gaps after the fact. What's required is to rethink the foundations, the training data, learning objectives, and evaluation methods, so that systems are built from the start to be robust across languages, context, and perspectives. Accomplishing this will rest on answers to open research questions across disciplines. What does meaningful linguistic fluency in AI look like? How do we measure value alignment across societies? Who must be at the table when decisions are made? These are only some of the questions we must address through interdisciplinary, cross-cultural collaboration. Every country and community has unique expertise to contribute, expertise that is indispensable when building AI systems that truly serve the world. So here's a call for bold and collective investment. I want to leave you today with 3 considerations for how all of us can begin to make inroads on these issues. First, invest in high-risk, high-reward science. Because market-driven forces tend to favor short-term, profit-driven research and development, governments and international bodies must fund bold experiments that look uncertain today, but promise to open new frontiers tomorrow. Second, build shared public AI infrastructure. We need open, multilingual, and multimodal datasets, rigorous benchmarks that test for cultural pluralism and real-world applications, and shared compute resources for academic institutions and nations otherwise left out. These are not just nice to haves. These are essential foundations to expand the talent and ideas that drive discovery. Third, prioritize capacity building, fellowships and exchanges that connect researchers across borders, advanced training programs that equip the next generation with cutting-edge skills, and collaborative institutes that sustain long-term partnerships are all crucial. Innovation can emerge from many paths, and the next breakthrough may come from where we least expected it. There's still so much we can and must do to achieve more global access and representation in AI. Progress on these fronts will not be easy. It demands our willingness to take paths less traveled and to set aside narrow competition in favor of collaborating for the common good. Thank you again, Mr. President, and Secretary General and distinguished members of the Security Council for the privilege of speaking to you today.
네, 최혜진 교수님 수고하셨습니다. 브리핑 잘 들었습니다. 이제 대한민국 대통령으로서 발언을 잠시 하도록 하겠습니다. 구테레시 사무총장님, 그리고 여수와 벤지오 교수님, 최혜진 교수님, 세 분의 깊은 통찰이 담긴 말씀에 감사드립니다. 세 분 말씀을 듣다 보니 현재 AI는 새끼 호랑이와 같다라고 하던 제프리 힌튼 교수의 말이 떠올랐습니다. 우리 앞에 새끼 호랑이는 우리를 잡아먹을 사나운 맹수가 될 수도 있고 K-팝 데몬 헌터스에 나오는 사랑스러운 더피가 될 수도 있습니다. 똑같은 칼도 요리사에게는 다른 사람을 행복하게 만들 훌륭한 도구지만 강도에게는 그저 남을 해치는 위협적인 무기입니다. 특히 AI는 지식과 정보 처리 전 과정에서 가장 파괴적 혁신을 가져올 발명품이고 심지어 스스로 인간처럼 판단과 결정까지 내릴 수도 있습니다. 따라서 우리가 AI라는 도구를 어떻게 다룰 것인지에 따라서 우리 앞에는 전혀 다른 미래가 펼쳐지게 됩니다. AI를 잘 활용한다면 저성장, 고물가 같은 난제를 해결해서 새로운 번영의 길을 열어내고 의료, 식량, 교육 등 여러 문제에 해답을 줄 수도 있습니다. 그러나 변화에 대비하지 못한 채 끌려간다면 극심한 기술 격차가 철의 장막을 능가하는 실리콘 장막으로 작동해서 전 세계적인 불평등과 불균형을 심화시킬 것입니다. 명과 암이 공존하는 AI 시대의 변화를 기회로 만들 방법은 국제사회가 단합해서 책임있는 이용의 원칙을 바로 세우는 것뿐입니다. 만일 많은 전문가의 경고대로 인공지능이 인류를 위협하고 멸종시킨다면 아마도 그 이유는 우리가 이 거대한 변화에 걸맞는 인류 공통의 규범을 만들어내지 못했기 때문일 것입니다. 인공지능 기술력이 곧 국력이자 경제력이자 안보 역량인 시대, 과거 러다이트 운동처럼 기술 발전을 역행시키는 일은 가능하지도 않고 현실적이지도 않습니다. 유일하고도 현명한 대처는 국익을 위해서 경쟁하되 모두의 이익을 위해 협력하는 것입니다. 각국 정부와 학계, 산업계, 시민사회가 머리를 맞대고 지혜를 모아야 모두를 위한 AI, 인간 중심의 포용적 AI로의 혁신을 이뤄낼 수 있습니다. 특히 안보리의 역할과 책임이 더욱 막중해졌습니다. 수많은 사람의 삶과 생명이 달린 국제 평화와 안보 분야에서 인공지능이 무궁무진한 잠재력과 가능성 그리고 동시에 위험성을 내포하고 있기 때문입니다. 정보, 정찰부터 군수, 기획까지 군사 분야 전반에서 정확성과 정밀성을 높이고 작전의 효율성과 지휘체계의 혁신을 주도하고 있습니다. AI를 잘만 활용하면 대량 살상무기 확산을 감시하는 등 분쟁을 예방하고 평화를 유지하는 훌륭한 도구가 될 수도 있습니다. 우리가 보낸 인도적 지원이 적재적소에 신속하게 도달하도록 만들어 국제평화와 안보를 튼튼히 하는 일에 기여할 수 있습니다. 그러나 이 무시무시한 도구가 통제력을 상실한다면 허위 정보가 넘쳐나고 테러, 사이버 공격이 급증하는 디스토피아의 미래를 피할 수 없을 것입니다. 인공지능발 군비 경쟁으로 안보 불안은 더욱 커질지 모릅니다. 안보리는 그간 테러리즘, 사이버 공격, 팬데믹 같은 진화하는 위협에 적극 대처하며 국제사회의 방향과 비전을 제시해 왔습니다. 이제 인공지능 시대의 변화한 안보 환경을 분석하고 공동의 대응 방안을 찾아내야 합니다. 대한민국은 글로벌 책임 강국으로서 AI가 인류의 지속 가능한 미래를 만드는 훌륭한 도구가 될 수 있도록 국제사회와의 협력을 주도하는 길에 앞장설 것입니다. 대한민국은 이미 지난해 네덜란드와 함께 유엔 총회 최초로 군사 분야 AI 결의안을 상정하고 AI의 책임 있는 군사적 이용에 관한 고위급 회의를 개최했습니다. 그 외에도 유엔 평화유지군의 허위정보 대응 역량 강화를 지원하였고 인권이사회 이사국으로서 신기술과 인권에 관한 결의를 주도했습니다. 지난해 5월 AI 서울 정상회의에서 서울선언을 채택하여 안전, 혁신, 포용의 3대 비전을 제시하기도 했고 APEC 의장국으로서 인공지능의 혁신이 인류 번영에 기여할 수 있도록 APEC AI 이니셔티브 채택을 추진하고 있기도 합니다. 이런 과정을 통해 무엇보다 기술 발전의 혜택을 함께 누리는 AI 기본사회, 모두의 AI가 새로운 시대의 뉴 노멀이 될 수 있도록 더욱 노력하고 있습니다. 각국 대표 여러분, AI가 불러올 문명사적 대전환 앞에서 인류는 오랜 역사 동안 함께 지켜온 보편 가치를 지켜내야 할 중요한 변곡점을 지나고 있습니다. 인류 문명은 늘 도전에 맞서 응전해왔고 어떤 절망을 마주해도 더 나은 세계를 향해 나아가겠다는 희망을 잃지 않았기에 지금의 진보를 만들어낼 수 있었습니다. 위기 속에서도 언제나 세계 평화와 공동 번영의 길을 찾아온 유엔의 빛나는 역사에 그 답이 있습니다. 우리 앞에 주어진 새로운 시대적 사명을 마다하지 맙시다. AI가 가져올 변화를 인류가 재도약할 발판으로 만들어냅시다. 경청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 이제 다시 또 안보리 의장으로서의 역할을 시작하겠습니다. 하산 세이크 모하무드 소말리아 대통령님의 발언을 듣겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President. Allow me to begin by expressing our appreciation to the Republic of Korea for convening in this important debate and for its leadership in building a shared vision on artificial intelligence's role in international peace and security. We are also grateful to the Secretary General for his insight, remarks, and to all the briefers for their contribution to this discussion. Artificial intelligence is no longer a distant prospect. It is already rapidly transforming societies, economies, and our approach to peace and security as well. It brings both remarkable promise and profound risk, as experts presented here. With responsible governance, its ability to revolutionize early warning, crisis prevention, and humanitarian response is undeniable. Yet, as its capabilities spread often unevenly, the risk of misuse grows, potentially creating new avenues for instability. Therefore, it's our collective responsibility to ensure AI advances international peace and security and to guide its use for the benefit of all. To this end, I would like to propose the following three core priorities. First, we must establish clear global standards for the responsible use of AI. AI must operate within a framework of international law and respect for human rights and human dignity. The Security Council should champion efforts to develop comprehensive guidelines that ensure AI is used ethically and transparently across all peacekeeping and security operations globally. These standards should address issues such as algorithm bias, privacy, and the protection of vulnerable groups. Establishing these principles will require the active participation of all member states and regional organizations, ensuring that diverse perspectives are reflected and that frameworks are adaptable to different contexts. Second, we must ensure equitable access to AI and prevent new forms of technological dependency syndrome. The benefits of AI must not be confined to a privileged few or concentrated in certain regions. Too often, technological advancements and control over data are held outside the communities most affected, perpetuating imbalances in power and opportunities. This risk of digital colonialism, particularly in Africa, can only be addressed through international partnership with regional organizations such as the African Union and by supporting strategies like Africa's Pan-African AI Initiative, which prioritize data sovereignty, digital literacy, and homegrown innovations. It's essential to promote inclusive access and support regional leadership to help ensure AI is a tool for collective advancement rather than a source of further division. Third, we must proactively address the unique risk AI poses to peace and security and the livelihoods of the societies. AI's misuse, whether through autonomous weapons, disinformation campaigns, or interferences in fragile peace processes, poses significant threat to stability. These risks demand constant vigilance and proactive measures. The Security Council should support regular monitoring and assessment of emerging AI threats, facilitate the sharing of best practices, and invest in early warning systems. Close collaboration with civil society and regional actors is essential, as local knowledge and networks can help identify signs of destabilization before they escalate. Moreover, the Council should encourage the development of accountability mechanisms to ensure that those who misuse AI are held responsible and accountable. In conclusion, Mr. President, the era of artificial intelligence is not a distant prospect but our current reality. The future we shape with these tools depends on our commitment to cooperation, ethical leadership, and global solidarity. We are presented with a defining opportunity to guide this historic transition responsibly so that technological progress serves as a bridge to peace and shared prosperity, not an instrument of division. The power of artificial intelligence is not inevitable in its outcome. It is shaped, guided, and given meaning by our values and our choices. Somalia is committed to acting with foresight and resolve together so that future generations will look back on this moment. We must unite as nations to guide technological progress for the good of all while protecting peace, upholding dignity, and broadening the horizons of human possibility. I thank you.
네, 모하무드 대통령님 발언 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 다음엔 나타샤 피르츠 무사르 슬로베니아 대통령님의 발언을 듣겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President, and let me begin by extending our gratitude to the Republic of Korea for convening today's open debate. I would also like to welcome and thank the Secretary General, as well as Mr. Bengio and Mrs. Choi. Mr. President, in my previous life, I was a lawyer dealing with human rights. Especially, I was connected to data protection, so heavily involved in the development of modern technologies, and this is why this topic is very, very close to my heart. And I've learned something regarding artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is neither artificial nor intelligent. It's not artificial because it only possesses the knowledge that we gained through the centuries. And it's not intelligent because it hallucinates all the time. And if artificial intelligence is going to hallucinate in automotive weapons connected to AI, then nothing good will happen at the end. Mr. President, since my last visit to the Security Council 2 years ago, the world has witnessed the growing digitalizations of warfare. Contemporary conflicts from Gaza, Sudan, and Ukraine have become testing grounds for the military use of new technologies. Soldiers on the ground can commit terrible acts against others. Some may develop a guilty conscience over the years. Some former combatants even apologize to those they harmed. Algorithms, armed drones, and robots created by humans, however, have no conscience. We cannot appeal to their mercy or beg them to spare their loved ones. This is the world in which technology is increasingly determining humanity's fate. One must agree with the Secretary General that artificial intelligence represents both an existential threat and one of the greatest opportunities of our generation. One might even add that AI can also pose a risk to our daily lives. As with many things, excess never does any good. Just as an excessive use of social media can create dependency, excessive reliance on AI calls into question of our own intellect, our capacity to think, and our ability to make independent decisions. It is like our muscles. If we don't exercise them regularly, they atrophy. On the other hand, there are countless tasks that AI can perform more accurately and efficiently. Its solutions are based on quantities of data far beyond human capacity to process. In supporting UN peace operations, AI can assist with multilingual translation, summarizing field reports, planning routes and optimizing logistics, as well as consolidating overlapping or fragmented information into a coherent picture. For conflict prevention, AI can be harnessed positively to identify food insecurity and predict displacement caused by extreme events and climate change. Mr. President, we acknowledge and welcome the important discussions taking place within the United Nations on the use of lethal autonomous weapon systems and on AI in the military domain. We thank the Republic of Korea for its leadership on the latter. As an expert has warned, the three biggest risks involved in the development of AI-powered weapons are, first, these weapons may make it easier for countries to become involved in conflicts. Second, non-military scientific AI research may be censored or co-opted to support the development of such weapons. And third, militaries may use AI-powered autonomous technology to reduce or deflect human responsibility in decision-making. From the perspective of the UN, the cornerstone of the system of collective security, AI has already become a reality with a visible impact not only on peace and security, but also on its other two pillars, human rights and development. It has not only entered the battlefield. The AI can be misused in so many ways. Through AI-accelerated cyber attacks, its proliferation in terrorism and organized crime, or its environmental impact. This further exacerbates threats to international peace and security. Therefore, Mr. President, this debate is timely. The far-reaching impact on AI on international peace and security, by its very nature, requires action by the Security Council, which bears the primary responsibility under the UN Charter for the maintenance of international peace and security. The Security Council must be prepared to respond to the impact of AI on global peace. I trust that today's meeting is just one of many activities in the Security Council and the United Nations system to discuss the presence of AI in international relations. To this end, Slovenia calls for regular briefings by the Secretary General to the Security Council on developments in the field of artificial intelligence that affect international peace and security so that the relevant risks can be recognized, understood, and, above all, addressed. We further call for the inclusion of discussions on AI-related risks on the Security Council agenda to ensure the protection of civilians, humanitarian aid and UN personnel, as well as the effective implementation of mandates for peace operations. We are also willing to consider concrete actions by the Security Council, including recognizing that decision-making on AI must be guided by international law, in particular international humanitarian law and international human rights law, as well as ethical principles to ensure its responsible use in maintaining and promoting international peace and security. To conclude, Mr. President, while we address the risks of AI, it is crucial to remember that behind every algorithm and every automated decision stands a human being who wrote the code. This simple fact underscores the central principles of human responsibility and accountability, principles that must remain at the heart of both our national approaches and our multilateral efforts. And just to say one more sentence, Professor said that transparency is of significant importance. Without transparency of algorithms, the supervisions of AI systems is not going to be possible. And you mentioned, Professor, also the trust among countries. We are facing the lack of trust today, not only in politics, in business, and also in modern digital world. The lack of trust is an obstacle. And if it's going to be an obstacle, at the end, the lack of trust and obstacles are going to be so big that we will all lose. So let this be my final word, and thank you for inviting me here to the Security Council, and I wish you all the best in the future work, Mr. President. Thank you.
네, 대통령님 말씀을 너무 잘 들었습니다. 이번에는 키리아코스 미초타키스 그리스 총리님의 발언을 들어보겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to begin by congratulating the Republic of Korea for convening this important meeting of the Security Council on Artificial Intelligence and International Peace and Security. Also thank the two professors for their very insightful introductory remarks. Today's debate builds on the Area Formula meeting that Greece co-organized last April with France, with the Republic of Korea, offering us the opportunity to further reflect on a topic that will undoubtedly shape our discussions for years to come. There is now, I think, a broad consensus on the close interplay between artificial intelligence and the maintenance of international peace and security. And the two RE-AIM summits in The Hague in 2023, in Seoul in 2024, the political declaration on responsible military use of artificial intelligence and autonomy launched by the United States, and the AI Action Summit in Paris earlier this year have all contributed to developing norms, rules, and guidelines for the responsible development, deployment, and use of AI, including, of course, in the very sensitive military domain. AI is not just another tool, it's a general purpose capability with the potential to both empower and destabilize. In the right hands, it can strengthen peacekeeping, it can improve early warning systems, it can accelerate humanitarian relief, just to offer a few examples. In the wrong hands, it can fuel disinformation, it can amplify cyber attacks, it can certainly lower the threshold for escalation and conflict. AI is by nature a dual-use technology, and it means that our collective security increasingly depends on the choices we make. Mr. President, our discussion today is particularly timely as it comes just weeks after the release of the Secretary General's first report on artificial intelligence in the military domain and its implications for international peace and security. This was, I think, a milestone in our collective effort to address the profound implications of AI on peace and security. And building on this crucial momentum, we must recognize a fundamental truth that for our rules-based international order to remain relevant, it must adapt. Just as past institutions, generations build new institutions to govern nuclear energy, but also nuclear weapons and arms control, so too we now must develop new mechanisms to ensure that AI innovation reinforces not just peace and security, but also human dignity. And this, of course, requires international cooperation, transparency, and a renewed commitment to the principles of the UN Charter. At the same time, we must be candid. Preserving peace does not mean ignoring the realities of power. Malign actors are racing ahead in developing AI capabilities. And if we are to protect our citizens, uphold deterrence, and maintain stability, we too must responsibly invest in defensive security applications of AI. but always in line with international law, and always with a commitment to human oversight. So this is not a call for a new arms race, but a recognition that peace is hard-won. It's harder to safeguard and hardest of all to preserve. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at an inflection point. The choices we make on artificial intelligence will not only redefine the balance of power, but also determine whether technology becomes a force for human progress or a drive of human peril. And the Security Council itself must rise to the occasion, just as it once rose to meet the challenges of nuclear weapons, the challenges of peacekeeping, so too now it must rise to govern the age of AI. And Greece believes the United Nations carries a historic responsibility to charter a path where innovation strengthens peace, where responsibility tempers power, and where technology serves humanity's highest aspirations. And let's make sure that artificial intelligence becomes not a source of rivalry and division, but a cornerstone of a more secure, more just, and more peaceful world. Thank you.
네, 미쇼타키스 총리님의 발언, 핵심적인 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 다음에는 데이비드 라미 영국 부총리님의 발언을 들어보겠습니다.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the leadership of the Republic of Korea. Friends, colleagues, there is an urgency to this debate. It was 2 years ago that the United Kingdom first brought artificial intelligence to this council, and since that time, its capabilities have grown exponentially. This is a lightning strike of change. Every one of us, diplomat, peace builder, terrorist, now carries superhuman expertise in our smartphones, better at maths, better at translation, better at diagnosis than almost any human expert. And now superintelligence is on the horizon, able to operate, coordinate and act on our behalf. We're staring at a technological frontier of astounding promise and power. No aspect of life, war or peace, will escape. Deep AI analysis of situational data holds this promise for peacekeeping. Ultra-accurate real-time logistics, ultra-accurate real-time sentiment analysis, ultra-early warning systems. But there are also these challenges for armed conflict, ultra-novel chemical and biological weapons, ultra-accessible to malign actors, and ultra-rampant distortion and disinformation. And of course, this is what is at stake for our shared security. The risk of miscalculation, the risk of unintended escalation, and the arrival of artificial intelligence-powered chatbots stirring conflict. The risk of deeper instability is immense. And this is why I so welcome the Secretary-General's report on military AI. This is an opportunity for collective understanding, for us to build new safeguards and guardrails, and reaffirm international law as the bedrock of responsible use. We all know that artificial intelligence use is growing, of course, exponentially, offering us both extraordinary promise and intense challenges. Nowhere is this clearer than in climate. On current trends, artificial intelligence could add the equivalent of a new Japan to world electricity consumption. Yet it also promises to utterly transform efficiency and power our green transitions, fine-tuning electrical production to the minute to meet demand and eliminating astonishing levels of waste. This is the power of AI. We are crossing humanity's most profound technological frontier. Our lives, our world, our politics are about to be flooded with super powerful AI. There is only one way forward: resilience. Learning how to use these tools and embedding them safely in society. This is the United Kingdom's mission through our AI Security Institute, with more dedicated researchers than anywhere else in the world, and through the International AI Safety Report, with its secretariat based in the UK. Under the chairmanship of Yusho Bengio, one of our briefers today, the United Kingdom is committed to using AI responsibly, safely, legally and ethically, and together here at the United Nations. We must ensure AI strengthens peace and security. I believe that it can, and if we act together, we can get there. Thank you very much.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Lamy for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Attaf, Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad, and African Affairs of Algeria.
شكرا السيد الرئيس. خالص الامتنان لكم على تنظيم جلسة النقاش هاته، وبالغ الشكر للسيد الأمين العام وللخبراء الموقرين الحاضرين معنا اليوم على عروضهم القيمة حول موضوع الذكاء الاصطناعي وتأثيره على السلم والأمن الدوليين. إن الجزائر لتثمن انعقاد هذه الجلسة بما تجسده من تنامي الوعي الدولي بأهمية هذه التكنولوجيا الحديثة كعامل مؤثر ذي أبعاد متعددة ومتشعبة في ذات الحين. إن فالذكاء الاصطناعي لم يعد مجرد وسيلة تقنية، بل أصبح عاملا جيوستراتيجيا حاسما في مسار إعادة تشكيل موازين القوى على الساحة الدولية. والذكاء الاصطناعي لم يعد مجرد مشروع واعد للإنسانية، بل أضحى يطرح العديد من التحديات القانونية والأخلاقية، بل وحتى الأمنية التي تمس بسيادة الدول وتماسك مجتمعاتها. والذكاء الاصطناعي أصبح دون أي شك سلاحا ذا حدين في ميدان السلم والأمن، سلاح بناء يسهم في بناء القدرات وتعزيز التنمية المستدامة، وسلاح هدام لما يساء استخدامه لزعزعة الاستقرار وتقويض السلم وتهديد الأمن الجماعي. من هذا المنظور فإن نجاح الحوار العالمي الذي تم إطلاقه بشأن حوكمة الذكاء الاصطناعي لا يمكن أن يحقق المقاصد النبيلة المتوخاة من دون التكفل بالشواغل الثلاث الآتية. أولا، الشاغل السيادي، والذي يرتبط تمام الارتباط بضرورة التقيد بمبادئ ميثاق الأمم المتحدة حفاظا على سيادة الدول وحرمة أراضيها. وإننا نعتقد أن اتفاقية الأمم المتحدة لمكافحة الجرائم السبرانية، والتي قادت بلادي مسار المفاوضات بشأنها، يمكن أن تشكل أساسا قانونيا لتعزيز سيادة الدول على بياناتها وحماياتها من الهجمات السبرانية. ثانيا، الشاغل الأمني، والمتمثل في حتمية وضع قواعد واضحة تؤطر استخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي في المجالات العسكرية والأمنية للحد من سباق التسلح الجديد الذي لا يتقيد بأي ضوابط، ولإبقاء الأسلحة المبتكرة بعيدا عن متناول الفواعل المسلحة غير الحكومية، وكذا لحصر قرار استخدام القوة المميتة بيد الإنسان في أي ابتكارات تعتمد على تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي. أما الشاغل الثالث والأخير فهو شاغل تنموي بامتياز، وهو يرتبط بحتمية ضمان تكافؤ الفرص بين الدول في الوصول إلى تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي، بما يحول دون تعميق الفجوة الرقمية والتنموية بين الشمال والجنوب. فالأكيد والمؤكد أن الدول النامية تواجه تحديات جسام في اللحاق بركب الثورة الرقمية الراهنة. وحين يتعلق الأمر بقارتنا الإفريقية فإن هذه التحديات تتجلى في 3 معطيات رئيسية. المعطى الأول وهو أن نسبة تغطية شبكة الإنترنت في القارة تظل دون المستوى المطلوب، حيث لا تتعدى 38%، في حين أن المتوسط العالمي يتجاوز نسبة 68%. المعطى الثاني وهو أن عدد الدول التي حققت المستوى التنظيمي المطلوب في مجال تكنولوجيا المعلومات لا يتجاوز 10 دول في إفريقيا من مجموع 55 دولة عضو في الاتحاد الإفريقي، وهو الأمر الذي يعكس هشاشة الأطر التشريعية والتنظيمية في معظم البلدان الإفريقية. أما المعطى الثالث والأخير فيتمثل في كون القارة الإفريقية التي تضم 18% من سكان المعمورة لا تحوز إلا على نسبة 1% من إجمالي القدرات العالمية المخصصة لتخزين البيانات ومعالجتها، وهو الأمر الذي يطرح بشدة تحدي السيادة الرقمية في القارة الإفريقية. إن هذه التحديات ليست بالمعضلات غير القابلة للحل، بل على العكس من ذلك هي نقائص يمكن تحويلها بالعمل الجاد إلى فرص حقيقية لتدارك التأخر الذي سجلته قارتنا في هذا المجال. والأولوية كل الأولوية يجب أن تتوجه نحو تعزيز الاستثمار في مجالات البنية التحتية الرقمية وبناء القدرات، وكذا تطوير التشريعات والنظم المتعلقة بالحوكمة الإلكترونية. من جانبها، وإذ تواصل بلاد العمل على تجسيد استراتيجيتها الوطنية في مجال التحول الرقمي، فإنها تلتزم تمام الالتزام بالمساهمة ولو بالقدر اليسير في رفع التحديات التي تواجهها قارتنا الإفريقية في هذا المجال. إن قارتنا تدرك تمام الإدراك حجم التحديات والرهانات المرتبطة بالثورات التكنولوجية والرقمية التي يشهدها العالم اليوم. فإفريقيا تبذل قصارى جهدها حتى لا تبقى على قارعة هذه الثورات، وحتى لا تفوتها مثلما فاتتها من قبل الثورات الصناعية والثورات المعلوماتية من جراء الاستعمار ومخلفات الاستعمار ورواسبه. وإفريقيا تسعى بكل مسؤولية لبناء شراكات دولية ناجعة ونافعة، شراكات تسهل لحاقها بركب الثورات الراهنة وتمكنها من الإسهام في صياغة مضامين هذه الثورات ومضامين الحوكمة المتعلقة بها. لكن إفريقيا بالمقابل ترفض مطلقا أن يتم تحويلها إلى حقل تجارب لتطوير هذه التكنولوجيات واختبار استعمالها، لا سيما في المجالات الأمنية والعسكرية، وهي عازمة على تفادي تكرار مآسي الماضي وتداعياته المريرة التي كلفتها الكثير. شكرا السيد الرئيس.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Attaf for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Hugh Hilton Todd, Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Guyana.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excellency, thank you for convening this open debate to discuss the complexities and impacts of artificial intelligence, AI, and to underscore the need for its responsible use in the context of international peace and security. I also thank His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, and the briefers for their presentations. Mr. President, the advent of artificial intelligence presents several opportunities for international peace and security, including for conflict prevention, peace building, disaster prediction and response, as well as cybersecurity, among others. The misuse of AI can also present many challenges for international peace efforts, including through cyber warfare, exploitation of weapons of mass destruction, privacy infringements, and the proliferation of automated weapons. Maximizing the opportunities and minimizing the risks of the use of AI should continue to be at the forefront of our discussions. In Guyana, we have been preparing ourselves to seize these opportunities. We are integrating AI through our digital transformation strategy and are also actively involved in the development of a regional AI policy roadmap with the support of the Caribbean AI Task Force. This is to ensure that the countries of the Caribbean are not only prepared for the global AI revolution, but are actively involved in shaping its direction in alignment with our priorities, values, and development goals. Mr. President, the conversations on AI governance are complex. In examining the complexities and promoting the responsible use of AI, I offer the following points. First, harnessing AI to advance peace and security requires a structured approach that involves robust regulation in line with international law. The use of AI must be grounded in inclusive and equitable international standards to strengthen global cooperation and regulate its military use, among other areas. The recent decision by the General Assembly to establish 2 global AI governance mechanisms is a positive step in this direction. These are good entry points for the Security Council to contribute to efforts aimed at utilizing AI tools in peace and security. So, inter alia, identifying signs of possible conflict, monitoring mis- and disinformation, risk assessment in peacekeeping operations, and respond to cyber attacks against critical infrastructure. We also stress the use of AI tools in addressing global challenges such as climate change and food insecurity, which often exacerbate conflicts. States should also consider ways in which AI could be harnessed for national security as a direct contribution to global peace and stability. For its part, Guyana is developing a framework for AI digitization focused on AI governance, cybersecurity, and data ethics. This is fundamental for socio-economic development, which itself is a necessary corollary for peace and stability. Second, the misuse of AI poses a threat to international peace and security. In the current global context, geopolitical context, there has been increased use of AI systems, including by non-state actors, for illegal purposes. These include cyber attacks against critical infrastructure and creating fear by spreading misinformation. Autonomous weapon systems, in particular, are accessible, inexpensive, and easy to produce, making it easier for non-state actors to exploit and use them for violent purposes and to carry out disinformation campaigns in conflict areas. The Security Council, therefore, has a responsibility to ensure the responsible use of AI. Third, AI has been used by parties to evade obligations established by the Security Council, a trend that is becoming worrisome. It has been used to circumvent sanctions, increase tensions, and reduce the chances of securing ceasefire agreements. To counter these threats, the Security Council can utilize AI tools for the implementation of its resolutions. With its predictive analytical features, AI can help improve implementation of the sanctions by detecting whether they are being evaded or violated, monitor compliance with resolutions, counter mis- and disinformation that could undermine peace efforts, and track ceasefire violations. Fourth, while noting the destructive use of AI in conflicts, we acknowledge that its responsible use can be helpful in peace-building efforts and in peace-building operations. Integrating AI considerations and ethics into peacekeeping mandates would ensure the use of AI tools in peacekeeping operations are transparent, responsible, and accountable. The promotion of AI capacity building for peacekeepers would also enable the missions to be effectively equipped to track AI-driven threats, including those targeting critical infrastructure and civilians. Mr. President, in conclusion, briefings such as this one are useful in advancing the discussions on understanding the benefits and risks of the use of AI in advancing global peace and security. To this end, the Council should work proactively towards mitigating the risks to advance international peace and security and to ensure a more safe and secure world for all. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Todd for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Xavier Martinez Acha Vasquez, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Panama.
Gracias, presidente. Excelencias, Panamá felicita a la República de Corea por la convocatoria de esta reunión. Saludamos al excelentísimo señor Lee Jae-myung y agradecemos al secretario general de las Naciones Unidas por su importante contribución a este debate. Además, agradecemos a los expositores por sus valiosas intervenciones sobre uno de los desafíos más disruptivos que enfrenta el sistema de seguridad colectiva del siglo XXI, el desarrollo de la inteligencia artificial. Una tecnología que debe seguir creciendo y desarrollándose en función del bien común de toda la humanidad. Y en ese sentido, tenemos la responsabilidad de garantizar que la inteligencia artificial sea una herramienta que contribuya a la paz, al desarrollo humano, a la equidad y a una innovación responsable y jurídicamente coherente. Panamá acoge con satisfacción la resolución de la Asamblea General que establece el panel científico internacional sobre inteligencia artificial y el diálogo global sobre su gobernanza y reconoce el liderazgo de Costa Rica y España para facilitar este proceso desde un espíritu de inclusión, equilibrio y visión de futuro. Estas plataformas representan un paso concreto para garantizar que la toma de decisiones en materia de gobernanza tecnológica esté guiada por evidencia, participación y responsabilidad compartida. Necesitamos urgentemente un marco normativo internacional para el desarrollo y despliegue de la inteligencia artificial con el objetivo de asegurar la transparencia, la igualdad de acceso y la regulación efectiva. Este marco debe estar guiado por el derecho internacional y basado en principios como la transparencia, la trazabilidad de los sistemas, el control humano efectivo, la no discriminación y la protección contra usos incorrectos de esta tecnología. Las empresas que desarrollan y operan modelos de inteligencia artificial a gran escala también tienen una gran responsabilidad global. El desarrollo privado de estas tecnologías no puede seguir escapando al escrutinio público. La falta de regulación en este ámbito no se puede ignorar. Representa un riesgo sistémico que debemos afrontar colectivamente desde un escenario inclusivo y abierto. En coherencia con este enfoque multilateral, Panamá está desarrollando su Estrategia Nacional de Inteligencia Artificial, basada en principios de uso responsables, gobernanza participativa y protección de derechos. Esta estrategia está orientada no solo a fortalecer nuestras capacidades técnicas, sino a aplicar la inteligencia artificial en sectores críticos como la logística, la salud, las finanzas, áreas donde no solo Panamá tiene fortalezas indiscutibles, sino también el potencial para contribuir al avance de soluciones que beneficien a la región y al mundo. Estamos comprometidos con impulsar políticas públicas que reduzcan brechas tecnológicas y fortalezcan la confianza ciudadana. Señor presidente, la inteligencia artificial también está siendo utilizada para difundir información, manipular narrativas y polarizar sociedades. Se ha utilizado para la creación de contenido falso, afectando la confianza pública, especialmente en contextos frágiles o de conflicto. Esto representa una amenaza directa a la paz y seguridad internacional. Esta tecnología también está siendo utilizada por grupos extremistas para radicalizar, reclutar y financiarse. Plataformas digitales y videojuegos han sido explotados para identificar perfiles vulnerables y difundir propaganda de odio de forma automatizada y peligrosa. Esta amenaza se conecta con la proliferación de ciberataques, el crimen organizado y la manipulación de datos personales en escala masiva. Esta problemática requiere una arquitectura legal robusta que combine prevención, cooperación internacional y transparencia institucional. El Consejo de Seguridad debe promover estándares internacionales que aseguren la evolución humana positiva y la auditoría independiente de los sistemas de inteligencia artificial. Pueden contar con Panamá y coadyuvar a que estos retos de hoy impulsen decisiones responsables mañana. Señor presidente, en el ámbito militar, Panamá reafirma su adhesión a la declaración política sobre el uso responsable de la inteligencia artificial y la autonomía en el ámbito militar adoptada en Seúl en 2024. Reafirmamos que toda aplicación de la inteligencia artificial en contexto de defensa debe respetar los principios del derecho internacional humanitario y del marco internacional de derechos humanos, al igual que los principios establecidos en la Carta de la ONU. Rechazamos el desarrollo y uso de sistemas autónomos que tomen decisiones letales sin intervención humana efectiva. La supervisión humana debe ser asegurada en todas las etapas críticas. No hacerlo equivale a delegar la responsabilidad jurídica y moral a una máquina. Es que la inteligencia artificial no se trata solo de cómo entrenamos a las máquinas, sino de cómo decidimos gobernarlas. Si notamos ahora, los vacíos normativos serán llenados por quienes priorizan el control sobre la equidad, la ganancia sobre la justicia y el poder sobre la paz. Desde Panamá, con un firme espíritu humanista, estamos convencidos que la inteligencia artificial representa uno de los mayores desafíos y oportunidades de nuestros tiempos. La inteligencia artificial puede ser un motor de progreso, justicia social y cooperación global, o un gran riesgo de exclusión, de desigualdad y de conflictos. Para Panamá, el valor fundamental es claro: la inteligencia artificial debe estar al servicio del ser humano, nunca por encima de él. La dignidad y los derechos humanos y la paz deben guiar cualquier desarrollo o aplicación de la inteligencia artificial. Esta jamás puede ser utilizada como arma de manipulación, control o violencia, sino como un instrumento para aliviar el sufrimiento, mejorar la educación, fortalecer los sistemas de salud y proteger nuestro planeta, siempre con la paz. Este Consejo de Seguridad no fue creado para observar pasivamente los cambios del mundo, fue creado para darles dirección. Panamá cree que el liderazgo en inteligencia artificial no se mide por la cantidad de datos que se posee, sino por la voluntad colectiva de poner esa tecnología al servicio de la humanidad. Muchas gracias, presidente.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Acha Vasquez for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Timothy Musa Kappa, Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Sierra Leone.
Mr. President, let me at the outset welcome you, Excellency Mr. Lee Jae-myung, President of the Republic of Korea, to the Security Council. And I thank you and the Republic of Korea for convening this important and timely discussion on artificial intelligence and international peace and security. Mr. President, Africa has always been in the docks of despair and suffering at the wake of every critical invention. Whether it was the advent of naval technology, which saw the bundling of Africans from the African continent to different parts of the world into slavery, to the invention of the gunpowder that decimated Africans in the 19th and 20th century. Therefore, Mr. President, this topic is not only important to us as Africans, but it's quite visceral. On that note, let me thank Mr. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, and the two briefers for their insightful briefings. According to the Brookings Institute, the term artificial intelligence refers to machines that respond to stimulation consistent with traditional responses from humans, giving the human capacity for contemplation, judgment, and intention. AI thus has the ability to understand language, plan, recognize objects and sounds, learn, and solve problems. This attribution of human-like capabilities to artificial intelligence is what makes it both promising and alarming, specifically for international peace and security. According to the Secretary General, in his most recent report of 2nd July 2025 on innovative voluntary financing options for artificial intelligence capacity building, AI is a foundational general-purpose technology that will shape economic outcomes, societal well-being, and global equity for decades to come. Indeed, AI holds outstanding potential for supporting inclusivity and reducing inequalities in advancement of sustainable development and in addressing causes of conflict rooted in delayed development, and conversely, by the same token, the risk of further widening the gap between developing and developed nations and further exacerbating the root causes of conflict. Mr. President, in 2023, 120 member states co-sponsored and all 193 member states of the United Nations joined consensus and adopted the first General Assembly resolution, setting out a common framework for safe, secure, trustworthy AI. The resolution recognizes the positive impact of AI on economic, social, and environmental aspects and the tremendous potential for AI to help accelerate progress toward the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, and also the imperative of ensuring that AI systems are designed, tested, and deployed in a manner consistent with the UN Charter and Universal Declaration on Human Rights. The resolution emphasizes that AI should not be used to undermine peace or repress human rights. Additionally, the UN Global Digital Compact that was adopted last year holds much promise for the acceleration of the implementation of the relevant aspirations of the African Union Agenda 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals through technological innovation. In June 2024, African nations adopted the landmark Continental Artificial Intelligence Strategy and African Digital Compact. This strategy envisions the establishment of strong research institutions that will promote our development models and broaden investment in African youth to generate specialized capabilities in the fields of technology and position Africa in the global AI landscape. Nonetheless, there are serious political, legal, ethical considerations raised by artificial intelligence, as well as peace and security concerns, especially for conflict-prone areas. Generative AI embedded in lethal autonomous weapons and robotic systems, in nuclear command and control, in military applications, and beyond weapon systems, pose significant threats to peace and security in the absence of the embodiment of sufficient human agency in the process. For this reason, Sierra Leone affirms the African Union's position that artificial intelligence must be governed by frameworks that are open, inclusive, equitable, and trustworthy. The African Union's Continental Artificial Intelligence Strategy and the African Digital Compact adopted in 2024 are timely and visionary. They emphasize responsible AI development aligned with regional needs and ethical imperatives. At the AU's 1266 Peace and Security Council meeting held on 19 March 2025, African member states reiterated the need for multilateral action to ensure AI promotes peace, security, and sustainable development on the continent. Since the majority of AI creation and regulation development is presently concentrated within a few countries, it will be necessary to construct a global governance framework to limit the adverse consequences of a few countries and private companies wielding such immense power over the rest of the world. At the national level, Sierra Leone has taken proactive steps. We are a party to the Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection, and we have developed a national cybersecurity strategy that aligns with regional and global digital governance norms. This strategy emphasizes ensuring digital technologies such as AI not to become tools of exploitation or instability. We are also in the process of developing a national artificial intelligence framework with a focus on ethics, inclusion, and peace-oriented innovation. This framework aims to strengthen national institutions' capacity to understand, govern, and responsibly deploy artificial intelligence. Mr. President, to address the complexities, multifaceted impact, and responsible use of AI, especially in peace and security domain, we must prioritize prevention uses, that is, deploying AI for early warning, conflict analysis, climate resilience, and humanitarian response, particularly in regions of acute vulnerability. Let me therefore emphasize that the Security Council has a critical role in ensuring responsible application of AI in the context of maintaining international peace and security. The Council can encourage best practices in peace operations, promote safeguards to retain human agency in military uses, and ensure compliance with international law and international humanitarian law. Furthermore, the unregulated weaponization of AI, its diversion to non-state actors, and the destabilizing effect of AI-driven disinformation must be addressed through global accountability frameworks and rapid response mechanisms. The Security Council does complement wider UN effort, promoting coherence with the General Assembly, the Global Digital Compact, and regional frameworks such as the African Continental AI Strategy. In light of the foregoing, let me share 4 key recommendations. First, in line with the interdisciplinary and multi-stakeholder approach of the Global Digital Compact, and the Pact for the Future, we encourage international organizations to deepen engagement with governments, peace builders, civil society, academia, and the private sector to co-design AI systems that are tailored to promoting peace, development, and resilience, especially in post-conflict settings. Second, there is a need to establish global norms and principles that hold both state and non-state actors accountable for deploying or developing AI systems with foreseeable risk of undermining peace, fueling conflict, or violating international law. This must include outright prohibition of use of tools integrating generative AI against civilians and civilian infrastructure, safeguards against militarization of AI, accountability for misuse, and rapid response to establish misuse and the retention of human agency in the use of AI in the military domain. Third, we are concerned that much of AI development and regulation remains concentrated in a small number of countries and private entities. We call on the United Nations to lead in shaping an inclusive and equitable governance architecture that addresses this imbalance. Measures must be taken to avoid entrenched digital inequality, algorithmic biases, and the concentration of AI capabilities in ways that exclude countries in the global south. The Pact for the Future rightly emphasizes capacity building, technology transfer, and equitable access as prerequisite for shared digital progress. Investing in AI literacy, digital skills, and ethical innovation ecosystems in developing countries is essential for promoting asymmetries that could widen geopolitical and digital divides. In this context, there is a need for upgrade in national cybersecurity capabilities and strategies in line with the impending risk posed by AI solution, while continually assessing AI's contributions in modern warfare. Finally, despite the rapid uptake of AI technologies in various sectors, there is a clear lack of empirical data on the extent and impact of AI applications in conflict settings. Sierra Leone calls for a comprehensive global mapping and risk assessment of AI use in military and peace and security domains. This should be done in order to inform appropriate regulation, safeguards, and cooperative frameworks, as well as facilitating continual updates and vigilant monitoring. Mr. President, Sierra Leone also urges that all AI development be rooted in these key fundamental principles: transparency, fairness, inclusivity, accountability, and respect for human rights. Those designing the most advanced AI models must be vigilant in addressing algorithmic biases and discriminatory outcomes. Government, developers, and civil society must work in partnership to ensure that new capabilities are aligned with the UN Charter and the Sustainable Goals. In conclusion, Sierra Leone calls for AI to be developed in a manner that fully respects international law, including international humanitarian law, and is guided by ethical principles that place human dignity, agency, and equity at the center, while reaffirming its commitment to working with member states, regional bodies, and the UN system to ensure that artificial intelligence becomes a force for peace and progress, not polarization or conflict. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Kappa for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Khawaja Muhammad Asif, Minister for Defense of Pakistan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. President, I deeply appreciate the Republic of Korea's initiative for convening this open debate. It is of special significance that President Lee Jae-myung is personally presiding over our deliberations. I thank Secretary General Guterres for his insightful and valuable briefing. We also thank other briefers. AI, Mr. President, is reshaping our world, a breathtaking space. pace. It is the most consequential dual-use technology of our times, capable of accelerating socio-economic progress, but equally capable of deepening inequalities and destabilizing international order. Harnessed responsibly, AI can drive inclusive growth and shared prosperity. In the absence of global normative standards and legal guardrails, the AI revolution risks reinforcing digital divides, entrenching new forms of dependency, and imperiling peace. Unregulated and irresponsible use of AI enables disinformation campaigns, offensive cyber operations, and development of new types of armaments. The accelerating weaponization of AI through autonomous weapon systems and AI-driven command and control systems pose a grave danger. Mr. President, in recognition of the importance of this technology, Pakistan developed its first ever national artificial intelligence policy in July 2025. This transformative framework seeks to build AI infrastructure, train 1 million people, and ensure responsible, ethical use of AI. It lays out 6 pillars prioritizing innovation, public awareness, secure systems, sectorial transformation, infrastructure, and international partnership. Pakistan also hosted regional consultations on responsible AI in military domain in Islamabad on 17 June 2025 in partnership with the Republic of Korea, the Netherlands, and Spain. We appreciate the leadership of ROK and Netherlands in this area. Excellencies, the AI transformation is unfolding in a highly uncertain international environment. The UN Charter is under strain. There is an attempt to normalize use of force. Arms control frameworks are fraying. Strategic competition is intensifying, and technological disparities are deepening. In such a context, the militarization of AI compounds the sense of insecurity, undermines the principle of equal security for all, and erodes trust. Excellencies, in the recent conflict in the subcontinent between India and Pakistan, for the first time, autonomous loitering munitions and high-speed dual-capable cruise missiles were used by one nuclear-armed state against another during the military exchange, which manifests the dangers which AI can pose. These developments raise serious questions for the future of warfare. 3 lessons are clear. 1. AI lowers the threshold for use of force, making wars more politically and operationally feasible. 2. AI compresses decision time, narrowing the window for diplomacy and de-escalation. And 3. AI blurs domain boundaries, merging cyber, kinetic, and informational effects in unpredictable ways. Our collective approach to meet these challenges must rest on the following principle. First, the UN Charter and international law must fully govern the development and use of AI. Applications and without meaningful human control should be prohibited. Second, strategic communication on AI nuclear intersections is vital to reduce risk of miscalculation. Third, states must commit to measures that prevent destabilizing use and preemptive incentives. Fourth, developing countries must have the capacity, access, and voice to shape AI governance. Fifth, AI must not become a tool of coercion or technological monopoly. 6. AI governance must be anchored in the legitimacy of the United Nations system. 7. Attempts to monopolize strategic advantage will fail. The only sustainable path is cooperation based on mutual respect. Excellencies, development dimension of AI is crucial. The adoption of General Assembly Resolutions 78/311 led by China last year was a landmark achievement that established the first multilateral agreed blueprint for AI capacity building. Pakistan also welcomes the establishment of annual dialogue on AI governance, along with the International Scientific Panel. We also look forward to exploring further options of promoting AI capacity building by the UN. Mr. President, we must ensure that AI is harnessed to promote peace and development, not conflict and instability. Let us work together to shape an AI architecture that is inclusive, equitable, and effective. Let us preserve the primacy of human judgment in matters of war and peace, ensuring that even in an age of intelligent machines, innovation is guided by principles of morality and humanity. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Asif for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Ma Chaoshu, Executive Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs of China.
主席先生，首先感谢韩国发起此次安理会公开辩论。当前全球智能化迅速发展，人工智能在赋能千行百业的同时，也带来了新的风险和挑战。国际社会急需就人工智能全球治理凝聚共识，确保人工智能朝着向善普惠的方向发展。2023年，习近平主席提出全球人工智能治理倡议，为加强全球人工智能治理指明了方向。联合国安理会肩负着维护国际和平与安全的首要责任，对助力人工智能全球治理、管控非传统安全风险责无旁贷。为此，我们要努力做到以下几点：第一，树立以人为本、智能向善的价值取向。发展人工智能要始终以增进人类福祉为目标，以尊重人类尊严和权益为前提，以有利于人类文明进步为方向。要加紧建立完善人工智能伦理规范及问责机制，明确人工智能相关主体的责任和权利边界，确保人工智能研发和应用遵守国际法，符合全人类的共同价值。第二，加快公平普惠、开放共享的赋能行动，要共同打造开放、包容、公正、非歧视的科技发展环境，旗帜鲜明反对单边主义、保护主义，摒弃脱钩断链、小院高墙，避免以意识形态划线、泛化国家安全概念，消除人为制造的科技壁垒。要加强人工智能能力建设，加快弥合南北智能鸿沟。中方支持安理会探讨人工智能在维和与建和工作中的应用场景，以科技赋能和平。第三，严守和平利用、安全可控的原则底线，确保人工智能始终在人类的控制之下，防止出现致命性武器自主杀人。对军事领域应用人工智能技术，各国，尤其是大国，应该采取慎重、负责的态度，防止军备竞赛， 防止人工智能恶用、滥用，造成灾难。安理会要重视恐怖组织、极端势力和跨国犯罪集团滥用人工智能的风险，推动国际社会加强合作应对。第四，构建协同共治、同求共济的治理体系，要加强人工智能发展战略、治理规则、技术标准对接协调，推动形成具有广泛共识的人工智能全球治理框架和标准规范，支持联合国在人工智能全球治理领域发挥主渠道作用。中方欢迎第79届联合国大会通过决议，设立全球人工智能治理对话和国际人工智能独立科学小组这2项机制，期待各方以此为契机，就人工智能全球治理开展有意义的讨论。主席先生，中国一直积极推动加强人工智能全球治理和国际合作。去年以来，中国推动联合国大会协商一致通过加强人工智能能力建设国际合作决议，主办2025年世界人工智能大会及人工智能全球治理高级别会议，发布了人工智能全球治理行动计划，倡议成立世界人工智能合作组织。我们将为广大发展中国家提供200期数字经济和人工智能能力建设培训，赋能全球南方可持续发展。中方高度重视人工智能军事应用带来的安全风险，始终以负责任、建设性态度参与军事人工智能全球治理。中方2021年就发布了关于规范人工智能军事应用的立场文件，推动就在军事领域负责任开发和利用人工智能凝聚国际共识。今年是联合国成立80周年，改革完善全球治理体系面临新的契机。前不久，习近平主席郑重提出全球治理倡议，呼吁各国构建更加公正合理的全球治理体系，携手迈向人类命运共同体。这为包括人工智能在内的新兴领域全球治理提供了根本遵循。主席先生，中国作为安理会常任理事国，将继续同各国一道，积极参与人工智能全球治理的进程，为构建持久和平、普遍安全的世界贡献智慧和力量。谢谢主席先生。
I thank His Excellency Mr. Ma for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Mikhail Kratsios, Assistant to the President and Director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy of the United States.
My sincere thanks to the Republic of Korea as President of the Council, and to President Lee as Chair, Secretary General Gutierrez, and to our briefers today, Professor Bengio and Professor Choi. Your Excellencies, the United States is committed to creating, promoting, and protecting the most innovative AI ecosystem in the world. AI is set to define the future of economic growth, national security, and global competitiveness. The Trump administration believes it is our responsibility to ensure this technology's development benefits all of our fellow citizens, safeguards their liberty and way of life, and protects our next generation. 2 months ago, President Trump unveiled America's AI Action Plan, based on 3 pillars: accelerating AI innovation, building AI infrastructure, and leading international AI diplomacy and security. The United States is resolved to stand at the forefront in developing and deploying frontier AI models and cutting-edge AI applications to address national security risks and usher in a new era of international peace and prosperity. Facilitating better, faster decision-making and enhanced situational awareness for warfighters and statesmen alike, AI technology will have revolutionary applications for war and for peace. But the improper use of AI systems can erode deterrence, create destabilizing effects, and reinforce systems of political control and social engineering. Knowing that, we are resolved that AI technologies used in national security applications are consistent with the highest levels and standards of privacy, civil liberties, transparency, and protections found in the laws of the United States. American companies are leading the charge in advancing the reliability and usefulness of AI systems, held to the highest standards of our commercial sector. We totally reject all efforts by international bodies to assert centralized control and global governance of AI. We believe that the responsible diffusion of AI will help pave the way to a flourishing future, one of increased productivity, empowered individuals, and revolutions in scientific advancement. The path to this world is not found in bureaucratic management, but in the freedom and duty of citizens, the prudence and cooperation of statesmen, and the independence and sovereignty of nations. We believe broad overregulation incentivizes centralization, stifles innovation, and increases the danger that these tools will be used for tyranny and conquest. Ideological fixations on social equity, climate catastrophism, and so-called existential risk are dangers to progress and obstacles to responsibly harnessing this technology as an extension of human ingenuity and capacities. Your Excellencies, the United States is focused on establishing American AI as a global gold standard and enabling allies and trade partners to build their own sovereign AI ecosystems with secure American technology. The President has called for an American AI export program which will support the deployment of full-stack AI technology packages globally. Through deal-making and diplomacy, we can create an AI ecosystem that fosters and promotes mutual prosperity and security. We call on all members of this Council to do the same. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Kratsios for his statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, let me thank the Secretary General for his remarks, as well as the two briefers, Professor Benjo and Professor Choi, for sharing their insights with us. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to the Republic of Korea for convening us today and for the tireless efforts in the AI domain. Mr. President, the unprecedented speed of AI innovation has brought about new opportunities for sustainable development, human rights, and peace and security. But we have also seen that AI carries significant risks, especially if not managed or used properly. AI exacerbates the security threats we face, for example, when it amplifies mis- and disinformation campaigns or malicious cyber activities. These threats do not only destabilize societies and jeopardize democracies, but also undermine the legitimacy and efforts of UN peacekeepers. AI operates in the virtual space, but it can put real people at real risk. We need to mitigate those risks and counter abuse and misuse, and we need to do so quickly. Together, we must ensure that AI benefits all of us. We must work against widening digital divides and against the potential of AI to cause damage and conflict. Mr. President, Denmark's main priority is to ensure safe and trustworthy AI that is used in compliance with international law, in particular international humanitarian law and international human rights law. This includes AI-enabled weapons, Responsibility and accountability cannot be delegated to machines. Human oversight and human control in decision-making is required. In this regard, Denmark is encouraged by continued deepening of international cooperation in relation to AI. We support the creation of a cohesive global framework for AI governance, and Denmark has also endorsed the Paris Declaration on maintaining human control in AI-enabled weapon systems. We call for a particular focus on accountability, as well as on a multi-stakeholder approach that involves civil society, technical experts, industry, and academia alike. Mr. President, AI technologies can bolster the UN's capabilities in multiple ways. For example, by detecting and addressing cyber threats, monitoring the implementation of sanction regimes, and countering mis- and disinformation and hate speech. AI has the potential to enhance the safety and operational effectiveness of UN peace operations and support remote monitoring of ceasefire agreements. This is particularly important on the ground, where UN peace operations work under difficult and dangerous circumstances to implement the mandates adopted by this Council. AI models can process data from satellites, drones, and sensors in real time to monitor movement of troops, vehicles, and artillery, and issue automated alerts. Instead of relying on manual reports, UN staff can respond more quickly with decision-making supported by technology. These opportunities of AI cannot be realized without decisive action and commitment. We must ensure that AI technologies are developed, deployed, and managed responsibly. Mr. President, to conclude, Denmark stands ready to contribute to ensure that AI systems remain safe, secure, and trustworthy. We welcome the engagement of this Council, and we look forward to further considerations on how AI systems can be leveraged by the UN to advance international peace and security. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Denmark for her statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Благодарим Антонио Гутерреша и докладчиков за вклад в нашу дискуссию. Сегодня искусственный интеллект – это не только модная тема, о которой кто только не рассуждает, но и прежде всего залог успешного технологического развития, экономического и общественного прогресса, а также важнейший элемент безопасности любого государства. Технологии искусственного интеллекта находят применение в политической, социальной, экономической и оборонной сферах. Однако при всем этом данная технология содержит и серьезнейшие риски и становится новым элементом, который может повлиять на устойчивость всей системы международных отношений. Наработки на основе искусственного интеллекта способны воздействовать на общественное мнение, результаты выборов, через распространение новостей, публикаций и фейков в социальных сетях, а также влиять на работу критически важной инфраструктуры других государств. При всем этом давайте честно признаем, что всех рисков, связанных с искусственным интеллектом, никто в мире до конца не понимает, и этот момент нельзя игнорировать. Начну с позитива. Искусственный интеллект, вне всякого сомнения, обладает значительным потенциалом для содействия экономическому развитию. Согласно ряду оценок, при сохранении текущих темпов роста индустрия искусственного интеллекта способна внести до $15,7 триллиона в мировую экономику к 2030 году. Кроме того, искусственный интеллект может оказывать влияние на достижение целей устойчивого развития. Соответствующие приложения уже разрабатываются и внедряются для решения задач в сферах, связанных с изменением климата и здравоохранением. Одна из ключевых особенностей искусственного интеллекта – его способность влиять на занятость. По прогнозам Международного валютного фонда, искусственный интеллект способен поглотить почти 40% рабочих мест по всему миру, заменяя человеческие ресурсы и дополняя их. В результате страны с развитой экономикой получат большие возможности использовать его преимущества по сравнению со странами с формирующимся рынком и развивающимися странами, усугубляя цифровое неравенство и без того высокий дисбаланс в мировом развитии, что может привести к социальной напряженности и новым конфликтам. Поскольку плюсы от использования искусственного интеллекта и бонусы от внедрения его в самых передовых форм нам всем очевидны, Так называемая гонка искусственного интеллекта, стремление опередить геополитических оппонентов путем быстрого расширения границ технологии, которое до конца неизвестно и неконтролируемо, без соразмерных усилий по обеспечению безопасности искусственного интеллекта для всех акторов, вполне может, как и гонка вооружений, нести в себе экзистенциальный риск для дальнейшего существования человечества. И это не единственная потенциальная угроза, связанная с развитием искусственного интеллекта. Поэтому неудивительно, что число тех, кто видит в искусственном интеллекте прежде всего новые возможности, сопоставимо с теми, кто усматривает в нем в первую очередь потенциальные угрозы. В любом случае, рискну предположить, что равнодушных к данной проблеме сегодня в мире практически нет, и она предсказуемо становится предметом обсуждения на различных политических и экспертных площадках. Совет Безопасности ООН здесь не исключение. Однако мы убеждены в том, что у разговора на данную тему в рамках данного ключевого органа ООН, призванного заниматься вопросами международного мира и безопасности, есть очевидные ограничители. Во-первых, нам сложно понять, как генерическая тема искусственного интеллекта связана с четко прописанным в Уставе ООН мандатом Совета Безопасности по поддержанию международного мира и безопасности. Во-вторых, что не менее важно, в Совете Безопасности ООН заседает 15 государств. В нем есть очевидный и неестественный перекос в сторону представительства стран Запада. Соответственно, высок риск того, что эта группа государств, заинтересованная в сохранении и упрочении своего технологического лидерства в этой области, попытается навязать всему международному сообществу свой узкокорыстный подход в ущерб прерогативам инклюзивных специализированных форматов, которые занимаются практической работой на этом направлении. Так, дискуссию по тематике компьютерных атак, совершаемых при помощи искусственного интеллекта, целесообразно проводить во всемирном механизме, учрежденном на смену профильной рабочей группе открытого состава Организации Объединенных Наций по международной информбезопасности. Данная переговорная площадка уполномочена рассматривать ключевые вопросы безопасности в сфере ИКТ, включая искусственный интеллект. Новый орган, в отличие от Совета Безопасности ООН, предоставит возможность всем странам на равноправной основе участвовать в выработке решений на сей счет. Если речь о военных аспектах применения искусственного интеллекта, для этого тоже существуют многосторонние и инклюзивные профильные площадки. В первую очередь, группа правительственных экспертов по смертоносным автономным системам вооружений, функционирующая в рамках Конвенции о негуманном оружии, а также комиссия ООН по разоружению. К слову, на данных площадках еще лишь предстоит выработать общее понимание по самым базовым вопросам, даже по терминологическому аппарату. Думаю, все мы понимаем, что на этом фоне перенос в другие форматы, тем более на площадку Совета Безопасности, дискуссии по столь чувствительным вопросам, не говоря уже о рассмотрении влияния технологий искусственного интеллекта на другие нераспространенческие и разоруженческие аспекты, по меньшей мере преждевременны. Господин председатель, прошу не проецировать нашу позицию в отношении Совета Безопасности и искусственного интеллекта на всю Организацию Объединенных Наций. Мы считаем, что наша всемирная организация может и должна сыграть координирующую роль в вопросах развития искусственного интеллекта в противовес различным неинклюзивным и временным форматам с политизированной повесткой. При этом ключевым для нас является выход на универсальные договоренности при главенствующей роли государств и на основе равноправного диалога между ними. Разумеется, при должном учете всех законных интересов участников переговорного процесса. К сожалению, упомянутые мною государства не только пытаются, как я уже сказал, увеличить свой технологический отрыв от государств глобального юга в области искусственного интеллекта, но и организуют неинклюзивные саммиты по ответственному применению искусственного интеллекта в военных целях, которые носят деструктивный характер. Я имею в виду, в частности, Сеульский саммит по искусственному интеллекту к 2024 году, ограниченный келейный формат, на который не пригласили большинство развивающихся стран. В этом же ряду конференции в Блечле в 2023 году и Париже в 2025 году. Данные мероприятия и принимаемые по их итогам документы не учитывают мнение всех заинтересованных сторон и не могут рассматриваться как основа для дальнейшей работы, которая бы отражала общее понимание данной тематики. Благородная цель, якобы направленная на предупредительную разработку ответственного регулирования искусственного интеллекта, является такой лишь на словах. На поверку оказывается, что навязываемая система регулирования опасна и вредна, поскольку прямо предусматривает разделение применения технологий искусственного интеллекта на хорошее и плохое. Тут-то и кроется главный вопрос, а кто будет определять, какое использование ответственное, а какое нет? Получается, что это та самая узкая группа стран без подключения подавляющего большинства государств-членов ООН. Попытки застолбить на уровне Совета Безопасности некие правила и установки отдельных государств, равно как и подменить ими международно-правовые инструменты, в том числе посредством продвижения неинклюзивных форматов и коалиций, едва ли приблизит нас к формированию общих подходов к тематике искусственного интеллекта, включая его военные аспекты. В конечном итоге именно это может сыграть с международным сообществом злую шутку и иметь деструктивную проекцию на поддержание международного мира и безопасности. Хотим предостеречь коллег от таких необдуманных шагов. Наша позиция остается неизменной. Мы поддерживаем координирующую роль ООН в вопросах искусственного интеллекта, приветствуем создание в рамках Всемирной организации механизмов по тематике искусственного интеллекта, глобального диалога и международной независимой научной группы. Рассчитываем на плодотворные дискуссии в рамках этих форматов с опорой на принципы уважения суверенитета государств и соблюдения национальных законодательств производителями искусственного интеллекта. Хочется верить, что всех сидящих в этом зале объединяет убежденность в том, что допустить верховенство искусственного интеллекта над человеком и человеческими ценностями нельзя. Со своей стороны готовы продолжать предметную, равноправную и взаимоуважительную работу по всем аспектам искусственного интеллекта на любых профильных инклюзивных площадках с целью выхода на устраивающее всех решение данной задачи и максимального использования выгод от внедрения искусственного интеллекта для всех государств планеты. Благодарю за внимание.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of France.
Monsieur le Président, je voudrais d'abord remercier la République de Corée pour l'initiative de ce débat ouvert. Je voudrais également remercier le secrétaire général des Nations Unies pour ses remarques en complément du rapport écrit, ainsi que les intervenants, donc M. Benjo et Mme Choi, pour leurs éclairages sur le sujet du débat d'aujourd'hui. L'intelligence artificielle constitue la révolution technologique majeure de notre siècle. Elle transforme déjà nos sociétés et nos économies, et dans les années à venir, elle influera de manière croissante sur la paix et la sécurité internationale. Le secrétaire général nous l'a rappelé, cette technologie doit être au service de la paix et du bien commun. La France s'y est engagée. Elle a lancé le partenariat mondial pour l'intelligence artificielle en 2019 aux côtés du Canada. La France met en œuvre le règlement européen sur l'IA, encadrant les usages risqués. La France a également soutenu l'adoption du pacte numérique mondial lors du sommet pour l'avenir l'année dernière. En février 2025, lors du sommet pour l'action sur l'intelligence artificielle, nous avons lancé l'initiative Current AI, qui a pour objectif de placer l'intelligence artificielle au service de l'intérêt général. 3 principes clés doivent guider notre action. Premièrement, les nouvelles opportunités offertes par l'intelligence artificielle doivent renforcer l'impact et l'efficacité de l'action des Nations Unies. Utiliser de manière responsable les capacités de l'IA en termes de collecte et d'analyse de données peuvent améliorer la protection des populations civiles et faciliter le travail des opérations de paix. L'intelligence artificielle peut être mobilisée pour identifier les signaux d'alerte précoce des conflits, pour la planification, pour l'aide à la décision, pour mesurer la performance, pour participer aux actions de formation. L'intelligence artificielle permet aussi de mieux anticiper et de gérer les risques humanitaires, les catastrophes climatiques et de réduire l'impact environnemental des opérations de paix. C'est pourquoi la France soutient la modernisation des outils au service du maintien de la paix, qu'il s'agisse de plateformes d'aide à la décision comme UniteAware ou de systèmes d'alerte précoce en Afrique dans le cadre du projet Silencing the Guns et le recours à l'IA à cette fin. Deuxièmement, l'emploi de l'intelligence artificielle en matière de paix et de sécurité doit pouvoir être régulé. La désinformation et les manipulations de l'information, facilitées par l'IA générative, menacent nos démocraties, fragilise les opérations de paix et la sécurité des casques bleus. Dans le cyberespace, l'intelligence artificielle accroît les capacités de ceux qui cherchent à exploiter une vulnérabilité. Dans le domaine militaire, la perspective de systèmes d'armes intégrant de l'IA présente des risques s'agissant du respect du droit international humanitaire. C'est pourquoi nous partageons pleinement les vues du secrétaire général qu'aucune décision de vie ou de mort ne doit être transférée à un système d'armes autonome fonctionnant hors de tout contrôle humain. Pour bâtir un futur instrument de régulation internationale des systèmes d'armes létaux autonomes, la France restera engagée au sein du groupe d'experts gouvernementaux dédiés à ce sujet, dont les travaux devront continuer en 2026. Aux Nations Unies, conformément à la résolution de l'Assemblée générale 79-239, portée par la République de Corée et adoptée en décembre dernier, nous devons continuer à évaluer collectivement les conséquences de l'application de l'intelligence artificielle dans le domaine militaire. Dans d'autres enceintes, la France continuera les travaux conduits par l'Union européenne et le Conseil de l'Europe, mais aussi par la Corée et les Pays-Bas lors des sommets sur l'usage responsable de l'IA dans le domaine militaire. Troisièmement, nous devons promouvoir une gouvernance autour de l'IA qui soit inclusive, multilatérale et respectueuse des droits fondamentaux. La fragmentation linguistique serait synonyme de nouvelles inégalités dans le monde. La fragmentation normative serait synonyme de concurrence entre modèles rivaux et creuserait les fractures numériques. Une telle perspective n'est souhaitable pour aucun État. Une architecture de gouvernance commune doit être bâtie, fondée sur le droit international et le respect des droits de l'homme. C'est pourquoi la France soutient la mise en œuvre rapide du panel scientifique indépendant et du dialogue mondial prévu par le Pacte numérique mondial des Nations Unies. Dans la continuité du sommet de Paris pour l'action sur l'IA, une intelligence artificielle de confiance, inclusive et soutenable sur le plan environnemental doit pouvoir être développée. Nous partageons la vue de plusieurs de nos partenaires que le Conseil de sécurité a un rôle spécifique à jouer. Il doit le faire en cohérence avec les autres processus en cours, aux Nations Unies ou ailleurs, en apportant une valeur ajoutée sur les enjeux relevant de son mandat, qu'il s'agisse de prévention des conflits, de maintien de la paix ou de consolidation de la paix. Monsieur le Président, pour conclure, la France appelle à une mobilisation collective pour que l'intelligence artificielle demeure un outil au service de la paix, du développement durable et des droits de l'homme. Nous devons agir ensemble pour que cette révolution technologique soit synonyme de progrès partagé au service de tous et non de nouvelles divisions. La France continuera d'apporter sa pleine contribution à cet effort commun. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. I thank the representative of France for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Karol Nawrocki, President of Poland.
President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this debate. Artificial intelligence is no longer a laboratory experiment. It is a tool used by millions of people around the world every day in all areas of our life, including national security. Today, our security is threatened not only by tanks and missiles, but also cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, the use of so-called deepfakes, and manipulation in the information space. These are also modern weapons, very different from conventional ones. In recent years, Poland, like many others, has become the target of increasingly intense attacks from hostile countries, mainly Russia. We are attacked every day. Let me mention that only last year, over 100,000 confirmed incidents were reported in Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that AI can be our shield on this new cyber battlefield and give us a real advantage. Poland is not standing on the sidelines of this revolution. We have enormous potential and great examples from our history in which outstanding Polish scientists influenced the fate of the world. Let me recall Polish mathematicians Marian Rejewski, Jerzy Różycki, and Henryk Zygalski. I know that it's very difficult to pronounce it in English, who broke the Enigma code during World War II, combining science, courage, and allied cooperation to protect human lives. Many innovative technology startups are developing in Poland today, creating solutions based on AI. Our research teams and technical universities are involved in international projects and leading global companies. I'm convinced that we must do everything we can to support the development of new technologies, including those that help strengthen our resilience and national security. To achieve that goal, 3 weeks ago, I signed a legislative initiative to establish a Breakthrough Technology Development Fund in Poland. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, in Poland we are fully aware that for artificial intelligence to truly serve peace and global development, it must be based on much more than just technology. It must be based on transparent principles consistent with human ethics and international regulations. We need a forum where countries can share their experiences in the responsible implementation of AI, including in the security and defense sector. I think that the Security Council can become a leader in developing rules for the use of AI in armed conflicts and enforce standards limiting its use against humans. Ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence is a tool. So little and so much. It is up to us whether it will be a tool of creation or a tool of destruction, whether we will use it to protect our values or allow it to be used against them. Poland is ready to cooperate, to share our know-how, to collaborate in developing best practices, to engage in international cooperation in the spirit of ethics, with a view to preserving peace and the principles of international law. Thank you very much for your attention.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Nawrocki for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, President of Portugal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excellencies, this is a crucial and timely debate. Artificial intelligence develops faster than our capacity to assess its impact. Its integration into the military domain has particularly profound implications. If misused, it threatens global stability, undermines trust between states, and jeopardizes international humanitarian law. This is namely the case with autonomous weapon systems. Human control, decision and accountability must be at the heart of the use of force. It is a moral, ethical, and legal responsibility that cannot and should not be delegated. This is why Portugal strongly supports the Secretary General's recommendation for an international treaty banning lethal autonomous weapon systems. Excellencies, we believe results are better achieved through cooperation. With Canada, Portugal co-chairs the Working Group on Accountability, following the political declaration on the responsible military use of AI. We are also engaged in the process on responsible use of AI in the military. Finally, we are investing in digital training so that the benefits of AI reach all regions on an equal footing. The UN Portugal Digital Fellowship Capacity Building Program is the latest example. Excellencies, the Security Council has a decisive role to play in ensuring that AI is used for the common good. Alongside strategic debates, it can take very practical measures within its mandate. like providing missions with the means to confront disinformation campaigns, creating practical guides on AI in conflict scenarios, or use AI tools to improve risk prevention and analysis. Excellencies, innovation must be at the service of humanity, never against it. Artificial intelligence must be an ally of peace, security, and dignity of all citizens. Portugal is fully committed to this common goal, always faithful to the United Nations Charter. Thank you very much for your attention.
Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Aidarus Kasem Abdulaziz Al Jubaidi, Vice President of Yemen.
شكرا سيدي الرئيس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيد الرئيس، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، يمثل الذكاء الاصطناعي تحولا جذريا في عالمنا المعاصر، ويحمل في طياته إمكانات عظيمة للابتكار والتنمية، كما يحمل تحديات ومخاطر قد تفاقم حالة عدم الاستقرار، خصوصا في البلدان التي تعاني من صراعات طويلة الأمد. لقد عانى شعبنا لعقود من التهميش والصراعات والقمع، وحال من عدم الاستقرار لعقود كان آخرها ما قامت به ميليشيات الحوثي الإرهابية المدعومة من إيران، ورأينا كيف يمكن توظيف الذكاء الاصطناعي كأداة لصالح الحوثيين للتضليل الإعلامي والحملات الدعائية المعقدة، وتقضية مساعي إيران لنشر أنظمة أسلحة ذاتية التشغيل وتهديد للأمن والاستقرار. إن الذكاء الاصطناعي سلاح ذو حدين، فبدون حوكمة ورشيدة قد يتحول إلى أداة بيد الجماعات الإرهابية لتهديد الأمن الإقليمي والدولي، وفي المقابل نؤمن إنه إذا ما استخدم بمسؤولية سيسهم في بناء السلام وتعزيز الحكم الرشيد، وتمكين المجتمعات من إعادة بناء مؤسساتها وخدماتها الأساسية. السيد الرئيس، يجب ألا يختزل التعامل مع الذكاء الاصطناعي باعتباره مسألة تقنية بحتة، بل هو قضية سيادة وكرامة للشعوب، فإذا تحكمت به أطراف خارجية فسيهدد استقرارنا الهش، أما إذا استخدم بمسؤولية فسيدعم تمكين الحكم المحلي ويوفر أدوات إنذار مبكر تقي من النزاعات ويعزز المرونة الاقتصادية. ولتحقيق الاستفادة القصوى من الذكاء الاصطناعي ينبغي مراعاة 4 أولويات. أولا، التنمية. يمكن للذكاء الاصطناعي أن يساعد الدول التي تعاني من الحروب مثل اليمن على إعادة بناء خدماتها الأساسية في الصحة والتعليم والطاقة وإدارة المياه، كما يمكن لتقنياته في الزراعة والتنبؤات المناخية أن تسهم في تعزيز التكيف مع التحديات البيئية التي تزيد من حدة عدم الاستقرار. ثانيا، السلام والأمن المحلي. إن توظيف الذكاء الاصطناعي لتعزيز السلام أمر مهم في بلادي، من الممكن أن يتم ذلك من خلال مراقبة وقف إطلاق النار والكشف عن تدفق الأسلحة غير المشروعة، وتعزيز جمع المعلومات مفتوحة المصدر حول تحركات الميليشيات الحوثية الإرهابية وشبكاتها الدعائية، كما إنه إذا ما استخدم بشكل رشيد فسيعزز ثقة المجتمعات في مؤسساتها المحلية، ويطمئن المانحين بأن مساعداتهم تصل لمستحقيها. ثالثا، السلام والأمن الإقليمي والدولي. إن الاستخدام المسؤول للتكنولوجيا المتقدمة والذكاء الاصطناعي له علاقة مباشرة بالسلام والأمن الإقليمي والدولي، ولقد رأينا كيف أن حصول ميليشيات الحوثي على هكذا تكنولوجيا قد خلق تأثيرا مباشرا على الحالة الأمنية في المنطقة، والتي تمثلت في استهداف ممرات الملاحة البحرية والاقتصاد العالمي وإمدادات الطاقة والأعيان المدنية في الإقليم. لذلك فإن خطورة امتلاك هذا التكنولوجيا بأيدي غير مأمونة وغير شرعية وإرهابية سيؤدي إلى إذكاء الصراع والتصعيد بطريقة قد لا يتم السيطرة عليها مستقبلا. ومن هذه الحقيقة ننطلق بالقيام بدورنا في تثبيت الأمن والاستقرار بداية توضيح هذه التجربة وانتهاء بتحويلها إلى واقع من التنسيق والتعاون المشترك بيننا في مجلس القيادة الرئاسي والتحالف العربي والمجتمع الدولي، وذلك وفقا واستراتيجية الردع التي أقريناها في مجلس القيادة الرئاسي. رابعا، تحقيق العدالة ومبادئ ميثاق الأمم المتحدة. إن الذكاء الاصطناعي يجب أن يكون عامل مساعد لتحقيق العدالة وإنفاذ القانون، ليس محليا فقط بل حتى على المستوى الدولي، فلا يجب أن يؤثر الذكاء الاصطناعي سلبا على تطلعات الشعوب أو حقوقها بما كفلته لها المواثيق والاتفاقيات الدولية وفي طليعتها ميثاق الأمم المتحدة. لذلك فإن هذه التكنولوجيا يجب أن تسخر لخدمة الشعوب في تطوير نفسها وتعزيز مشاركتها الأممية وضمان حق تقرير المصير للشعوب وفق إرادتها. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Al-Jubaidi for his statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Sitibani Ligama Mamada Labuka, Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Civil Service and Public Enterprises and Information of Fiji.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President Jae Myung Lee. Your Excellencies, I'm indeed grateful for this opportunity to speak on this issue, and I sincerely thank the Republic of Korea for their leadership this month. We now live in a world where our lives are reliant on digital technologies. In line with the Pact of the Future, technological advancements and enhanced artificial intelligence can support peace and security by improving human capacity to detect, prevent, and manage conflict. But AI cannot resolve them on its own. Peace is ultimately a human process involving trust, justice, and political will. AI is a digital tool, not a solution in itself. AI can analyze conflict prevention and early warning for timely intervention by governments and organizations. AI strengthens defenses against cyber attacks and the spread of disinformation. It can also detect online hate speech or extremist recruitment. In conflict zones, including in states affected by climate change and natural disasters, AI enhances the mapping and location of displaced populations. The UN Security Council, therefore, needs to consider a global governance architecture through an intergovernmental process on the use of AI in peace and security, and to map clearly its risks and challenges. On our part, the Pacific leaders have endorsed the Ocean of Peace Declaration. We have declared our region as a zone of peace, where sovereignty, respect, and rights uphold our way of life. A region free from military interference, a region that upholds and sustains peace. In closing, I cannot overemphasize the need for the United Nations Security Council to act in an inclusive process to examine the potential that AI has to offer, including its risks in peace and security. We need to act swiftly together now. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Rabuka for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Ervin Ibrahimovic, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs of Montenegro.
Thank you, Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues. I thank the Republic of Korea for convening this important debate at such a critical moment. Across the globe, unresolved conflicts and rising geopolitical tensions test our collective ability to safeguard peace. At the same time, the pace of technological transformation brings new and complex risks. Among them, artificial intelligence stands out, holding not only extraordinary potential to advance humanity, but also the power to deepen existing security challenges. AI can act as a powerful force to good, strengthening peacekeeping, early warning and conflict prevention, and humanitarian response. Yet, in the wrong hands or without proper safeguards, it can be weaponized to spread disinformation, enable cyber attacks, or even design novel weapons. Montenegro is fully aware of both risks and opportunities that AI brings. By the end of this year, we will finalize our first national strategy for AI. It will provide a comprehensive framework for the responsible development and use of this technology. As a future member of the EU, we will strive to align it with the highest standards of the EU AI Act. Mr. President, raising awareness of risk must go hand in hand with unlocking the potential of AI for innovation, security, and sustainable development. This requires global accountability and strong partnership. The private sector, as the primary driver of technological advancement, must be a key partner in building safe, transparent, and human-centered AI solutions. International cooperation is also necessary. The Security Council has a distinct role to play in ensuring that AI contribution to peace and security rather than undermine them. We encourage collective effort to establish norms and guidelines, foster trust and transparency, and ensure that all countries benefit from this technology in a safe and responsible manner. In this regard, Montenegro welcomed the launch of the Global Dialogue on AI Governance. Considering its rapid advancement, including the future of artificial general intelligence, we see it is a unique, inclusive platform that brings together multi-stakeholders to advance collective approaches in line with Global Digital Compact. In closing, allow me to reaffirm Montenegro's readiness to contribute constructively to this effort. If we don't act responsibly today, we risk handing future generations a technology that divides rather than unites. But if we act together, AI can become a force for peace, not a danger. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Abraham Mobi for the statement. Now I give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Dick Schoof, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Thank you, Mr. President. When the Dutch philosopher Cornelis Verhoeven was asked for his opinion on the digital revolution, he said, "Computers will never be able to do what we do because we created them." And then again, that's what the ape said about us. It might sound like a flippant remark, but there's an element of truth to it too. We're here today to talk about artificial intelligence and international peace and security. It's such an important topic that South Korea has put it on the Security Council agenda, which we greatly appreciate. And when it comes to AI, opinion is generally divided into two camps, for and against. But if we look more closely, it's clear that the positive and negative views on AI's potential are equally valid. Because AI can indeed help provide solutions to global issues like climate change, food security, water management, and collateral damage in military conflicts. But it can also be used for cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns, so there's every reason for us to develop accountability mechanisms. In 2023, the Netherlands and South Korea jointly initiated a broad international debate on the responsible use of AI in the military domain, the RE-AIM process. As part of this process, the Netherlands launched a global commission on responsible AI in the military domain. This independent body is made up of around 20 international commissioners from philosophers and lawyers to mathematicians and computer scientists, and is supported by a broad group of experts. It's been working on this issue for the past 18 months, and today it's presenting its final report with concrete recommendations on how governments can embed this theme in their policy agendas. But beyond the military domain, AI has already spread more broadly into our day-to-day lives. And while everyone accepts that we need security safeguards for military applications, that isn't automatically the case in other areas. So we need to pay special attention to those areas too. This is a task that the Netherlands takes very seriously. By drawing up frameworks and impact analyses for the use of AI and algorithms, as well as by working with a range of organizations concerned with raising awareness and providing information on AI, including ELSA Labs, which stands for Ethical, Legal and Societal Aspects of AI. But of course, this requires a broader approach too. The Netherlands supports the EU vision on jointly building an innovative European ecosystem focused on people, trust and accountability. These are all steps in the right direction. At the same time, we know this is a technology that sometimes moves faster than we can expect. So we need to move fast too. We need to keep up tempo and keep this issue on the global UN agenda. It's also important to remember that every innovation begins with belief in its potential. Take healthcare, for example, where robots are carefully analyzing CT and MRI scans and even performing operations, leaving humans to do what only humans can do. So let's not focus only on the risk that AI entails, but also on the opportunity it brings. And now, Mr. President, I'm keen to hear all the views of all the others in this room. Thank you so much.
I thank His Excellency, Mr. Su, for the statement. Now I give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. Sadir Japarov, President of Kyrgyzstan. Урматтуу төрага мырза, урматтуу коопсуздук кеңешинин мүчөлөрү, айымдар жана мырзалар, биринчиден бул иш-чараны жогорку деңгээлде уюштургандыгы үчүн Корея Республикасынын президенти Ли Чжэ-мен мырзага ыраазычылыгымды билдиремин. Бул маселени Бириккен Улуттар Уюмунун коопсуздук кеңешинин жыйынынын күн тартибине киргизүү абдан актуалдуу деп эсептеймин. Жыйындын урматтуу катышуучулары, азыркы тапта Кыргызстан жасалма интеллект технологияларын мамлекеттик башкарууга жана экономиканын негизги секторлоруна киргизүүнүн үстүндө жигердүү иштеп жатат. Биз 2024-2028 жылдарга карата санарип трансформация концепциясынын негизинде бир катар демилгелерди ишке ашыруудабыз. Алардын ичинде улуттук жасалма интеллект платформасын, жогорку өндүрүмдүүлүктөгү эсептөө борборун түзүү, адистерди даярдоо үчүн билим берүү программалары иштелип чыгууда. Бул багытта Кыргызстан Шанхай кызматташтык уюмунун демилгелерине катышып, Борбор Азия жана көз карандысыз мамлекеттер шериктештигине мүчө мамлекеттер менен биргелешкен долбоорлорду талкуулоодо. Урматтуу төрага мырза, жасалма интеллект 21-кылымдын эң алгачкы жана трансформациялык технологиялардын бири болуп баратат. Ал биздин жашоо турмушубуздун бардык тармактарына таасир этүүдө. Ошону менен бирге жасалма интеллектке байланыштуу жаңы чакырыктарды да четке кага албайбыз. Алардын ичинде жасалма интеллектти аскердик максаттарга колдонуу, автономдуу курал системаларын өндүрүү жана иштеп чыгуу, кибер коопсуздукка жана дезинформацияларга байланышкан коркунучтар бар. Бул тобокелдиктер эл аралык коомчулуктун ишенимине доо кетирет, стратегиялык туруктуулукка коркунуч жаратат жана жаңы жаңжалдардын чыгышына алып келиши толук мүмкүн. Кыргызстан бул технологияны тынычтык, чыр-чатактарды алдын алуу жана адам өмүрүн коргоо максаттарына гана кызмат кылат деген бекем ишеништебиз. Ушундан улам жасалма интеллектти жоопкерчилик менен пайдалануу боюнча эл аралык стандарттарды жана эрежелерди иштеп чыгууга чакырабыз. Жаңы технологиялардын артыкчылыктары жалгыз эле өнүккөн өлкөлөргө гана эмес, бардык мамлекеттерге, өнүгүп келе жаткан өлкөлөргө да жеткиликтүү болушу өтө маанилүү. Урматтуу кесиптештер, Кыргызстан 2027-2028 жылдарга Бириккен Улуттар Уюмунун Коопсуздук Кеңешинин туруктуу эмес мүчөлүгүнө өз талапкерлигин коюп жатат. Эгерде биз Коопсуздук Кеңешине шайланып калсак, анда жасалма интеллекти тынычтык жолунда гана колдонуу боюнча аракеттерге өз салымыбызды кошууга жана биргелешкен демилгелерди активдүү илгерилетүүгө даяр экендигибизди билдирем. Көңүл бурганыңыздар үчүн рахмат.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Japarov for the statement. Now I give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Abdellah Ben Mellouk, General Director of Multilateral Issues of Morocco.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Mon ministre des Affaires étrangères a été retenu dans une autre réunion. Je vais donner lecture de cette déclaration en son nom. Monsieur le Président, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, permettez-moi de remercier la République de Corée, président du Conseil de sécurité, pour la tenue de ce débat opportun sur l'intelligence artificielle comme outil pour préserver la paix et la sécurité internationale. Nous abordons cette discussion à un moment où les avancées technologiques rapides liées à l'intelligence artificielle transforment profondément les dynamiques de sécurité mondiale. Certes, l'intelligence artificielle peut s'avérer être une force de perturbation. Cependant, lorsqu'elle est utilisée de manière responsable, elle offre d'énormes opportunités. Le Royaume du Maroc est convaincu des potentiels transformateurs de l'intelligence artificielle comme outil contribuant au renforcement des efforts de prévention, de maintien et de consolidation de la paix. En tant que nation engagée en faveur de la paix, la stabilité et le progrès technologique responsable, le Maroc souhaiterait souligner 4 points. Premièrement, nous devons investir dans des systèmes d'intelligence artificielle capables de détecter les signes avant-coureurs d'instabilité, en particulier dans les régions les plus fragiles, car la détection précoce permet de prévenir les conflits et de sauver des vies. Deuxièmement, l'intelligence artificielle doit être exploitée dans la lutte contre la désinformation numérique en détectant les contenus préjudiciables tels que les discours de haine, la désinformation et l'incitation à la violence. Cela est particulièrement important dans les zones de déploiement des opérations de maintien de la paix, où de tels discours menacent la capacité de mise en œuvre des mandats ainsi que la sûreté et la sécurité des casques bleus. Troisièmement, nous pouvons et surtout nous devons utiliser les capacités de l'intelligence artificielle pour prévoir et gérer les défis liés à l'environnement, liés à la pénurie d'eau, aux sécheresses et aux perturbations des systèmes agricoles. Enfin, le Conseil de sécurité, conformément à son mandat, pourrait envisager une approche similaire à celle de sa résolution 1540 sur les armes de destruction massive lorsqu'il s'agit de capacités de l'IA entre les mains d'acteurs non étatiques et de groupes terroristes. Monsieur le Président, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, le Maroc réaffirme son engagement à travailler avec tous les partenaires en faveur d'une utilisation responsable de l'intelligence artificielle, guidée par des principes garantissant le respect du droit international et des considérations éthiques, la prévention de la discrimination, l'accès équitable et le transfert de technologies, la responsabilité environnementale en déployant les infrastructures IA et une gouvernance qui encourage l'innovation. Je vous remercie.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Mellouk for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Kan Parut, Secretary of State of Cambodia.
Excellency Lee Jang-myok, President of the Republic of Korea, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to represent the Royal Government of Cambodia at this important open debate on the implication of artificial intelligence for international peace and security. I wish to commend the Republic of Korea for its remarkable leadership as President of the Security Council for this month, and to express my appreciation to the Secretary General and all briefers for their insightful remark. Artificial intelligence is no longer an abstract concept. It is already reshaping the global security landscape. AI holds immense promise in peacekeeping, conflict prevention, humanitarian actions, and post-conflict recovery. Yet, its dual-use nature also presents profound risks. Disinformation campaign, cyber attacks, the development of autonomous weapons, and threat to non-proliferation and human rights. The choice before us is stark. AI can either serve as a catalyst for peace and stability or as multiplier for insecurity and conflict. Excellency President, ladies and gentlemen, in this regard, permit me to highlight the following key points. First, the safe, ethical, and responsible use of AI must be a global priority. Making responsible AI a worldwide priority is not optional. It is a duty that requires urgent and coordinated global action, rooted in law and ethical norms, driven by cooperation and guided by a shared commitment to humanity. Cambodia therefore supports establishing a dedicated UN body on AI under Secretary General to ensure effective governance, protect peace, and promote sustainable development in line with the new agenda for peace. Second, AI should be harnessed for peace. When guided responsibly, it can serve as an early warning mechanism, detect conflict pattern, enhance peace process, and strengthen the protection of civilians in peacekeeping. Cambodia also underscored the importance of making AI as a tool for inclusive governance and recovery, particularly in the Global South. We call upon the UN member states, the private sector, and academia to prioritize capacity building for developing countries to bridge the technological divide. Third, cooperation indispensable. No country can address the complexity and multifaceted impact of AI alone. Cambodia supports multilateral efforts, including within the United Nations Security Council, to establish common norms, share best practices, and enhance safeguards to ensure that AI contributes to stability, prosperity, and respect for human dignity. Against this backdrop, Cambodia is in the process to formulating its first national artificial intelligence strategy 2025 to 2030, and it has become the fourth country in Southeast Asia to complete a national artificial intelligence readiness assessment, a UNESCO-led AI readiness assessment RAM, and in line with this national digital economy and society framework 21-25. In conclusion, Cambodia reaffirmed its commitment to working with all member states to shape a future where artificial intelligence promotes peace, security, and humanity. We pledge to ensure that the development and use of AI technology follow international law and reflect our shared value, driving a global vision that is inclusive, ethical, and grounded in respect of humanity. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Khan for the statement. Now I give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Lutfei Siddiqui, Special Envoy on International Affairs to the Chief Advisor of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Mr. President, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. The enormous benefits of AI are self-evident. At the same time, the potential perils of AI are pernicious, for which we need appropriate policy responses, both at national and international levels. Mr. President, with the exception of city-states, Bangladesh is the most densely populated country in the world with a large young population. Heavy density means that online disinformation can spread very quickly with serious offline consequences in the physical world, especially when that disinformation is conducted from outside our borders. With weaponized AI, the policy challenges are great unless we work together internationally across borders. The United Nations has the opportunity to ensure that all member states play a constructive role in combating motivated disinformation efforts from across borders. The UN may also play a catalytic role in ensuring greater cooperation between platform companies or technology companies and governments. Member states may also collaborate to share experiences in educating their populations against AI-doctored disinformation. We welcome the ongoing UN and multilateral initiatives, including the Secretary-General's call for a global digital compact, the recent launch of the Global Dialogue on AI Governance, and the establishment of an independent international scientific panel. These are crucial not just for peace and security, but also to ensure that the fruits of AI are inclusive to all and the threats from AI protect the most vulnerable of all. Bangladesh is ready and eager to contribute to these initiatives. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Siddiqui for the statement. And now we have the last speaker. I give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Martin Prick, Director of the Office Foreign Affairs of the Liechtenstein.
Mr. President, the use of AI tools has become a reality in our daily lives. As with all technologies, it brings potential benefits, but also considerable risks. We must ensure that the development and use of AI tools take place in line with the UN Charter and international law. Mr. President, used responsibly, AI tools can help the humanitarian community refine early warning systems and improve crisis response through better data collection and analysis. In so doing, these tools can also support conflict prevention efforts as well as the efficiency and precision of humanitarian missions. Adhering to international humanitarian law and international human rights law in this context would, in particular, require that such tools are developed, monitored, and implemented in line with principles of transparency, accountability, and inclusivity, for example, with the co-ownership of affected communities. Mr. President, the use of AI tools in warfare has resulted in serious violations of international humanitarian law. For example, AI is increasingly used to automate the process of targeting. With human life at stake, algorithmic bias in these tools can result in ethically and legally unacceptable results, without even the hypothetical prospect of accountability. Civilian harm resulting from the use of AI tools demonstrates the need to redouble our efforts to prohibit fully autonomous weapons in international law, in line with the recent call of the Secretary General. Life or death decisions must never be made without human control. Ensuring meaningful human control over AI tools is the bare minimum standard for compliance with international humanitarian and international human rights law, and the only way to ensure that accountability for violations is achievable. Regulation is also needed to ensure that AI tools cannot be used to spread disinformation and hate speech. Such regulation would ideally pave the way to ensure that those who develop or deploy such tools are held accountable for violations they are responsible for, in accordance with applicable international law. Mr. President, malicious cyber operations, including those enabled by AI tools, can cause devastating harm to civilians. And yet there remains a troubling lack of clarity on how international criminal law applies to cyber warfare. While there is broad agreement that international law governs cyberspace, its practical application remains unsettled, especially in the context of accountability for cyber-related atrocities. We therefore wish to draw your attention to the Council of Advisors report on the application of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court to cyber warfare, prepared by Liechtenstein. This report seeks to contribute to a clearer understanding of how the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court applies in the cyber domain, which is essential not only for the court's work, but also for guiding the UN Security Council in its mandate to refer situations involving the commission of the most serious crimes under international law. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Prick for the statement. There are still a number of speakers remaining on my list for this meeting. I intend, with the concurrence of members of the Council, to suspend this meeting until tomorrow, 25 September at 3 p.m. This meeting is suspended.